Testing. Okay, can you hear me now? It looks like the bar is working. Hello, Molly. Is it working now? I don't have Castle with me, so I'm trying to make sure this is all working right. Can't hear anything? Shoot. Interesting. Oh, you can now? Okay, okay. Good, good. I was gonna be very confused. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I have to call Castle and be like, hello, I need you. Okay, let me open up Daughter of the Forest. I need to open a window so I'm not dying. It's not my library. There we go. I forgot what chapter we left off, and we're on 7. We're on chapter 7. I thought my headphones were being mean again. Oh, it's possible. It's very possible. I need to get the Facebook chat up so I'm not having to read it super tiny on the feed. No, that's an old one. That's an old one. Where's the current live? There it is. Also, I know I'm very bright. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't fix it without the rest of me being very dark, so we'll just pretend like I'm at the beach. This is what I look like in the sun. I glow because I'm pale. You missed the live last night? Aw, that's a bummer. Oh, caffeine withdrawal is not fun. Not fun, I've been there. Hello, Fernando. Okay, I got the chat up finally. Hey, Matthew. Yeah, sorry, I'm catching up on that Facebook chat. Story time is tomorrow with Castle. So I was gonna play Baldur's Gate tonight with Captain Hoodie and her husband and Shadow Dancer. However, Captain Hoodie is dealing with some migraines right now, and her husband has some food poisoning, so not really in shape to be playing video games. So I decided I'd read another chapter of Daughter in the Forest because it had been a while and everyone's probably forgotten what's happened. So I've forgotten what's happened. I know her brothers have been turned into swans by now. Your tongs from TT? Okay, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Welcome in. Okay. So I was gonna have music playing, but it doesn't sound like that's working. Or it does look like it's working, I just can't hear it. Let me see. Are these working? It's just a mess, I'm sorry. You get to have a hot mess. Okay. Oh, there it is, there it is. There's music. Okay. Very good. But now I have to listen to myself, which is always fun. Just turn it down. There. You're hearing an echo? Alright. Suppose... if I turn that off, does it still echo? I don't need audio. You guys can have audio. You can just tell me if there's an annoying song and I'll skip it. Because it happens. Can I see Esther? Yes, okay, I do see her. Hello, Esther. Hello, hello. No more echo? Okay, then we'll leave it as is. I don't need to be messing with it anymore. Ruining things. Okay. Yeah, I need to put the air on. It's winter, right? Or almost. Maybe you can just open this window. Feels nice outside. Okie dokie. It is still there? Well, that's not good. You don't hear an echo, Molly? Okay. Okay, so maybe it's not me, or it's just choosing when to do it on its own. Not bad thing. Oh, hello. The red herring. Oh, where's my Twitch chat? Not up. Okay, okay. I got this. There we go. Let's pop this out. Pop out chat. Stick you over here. There we go. Okay. Now hello Milu. We've got Angel Star. There's no sound on TikTok. Well. Okay. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think I have everybody now. So, let us begin on chapter 7. Let me see if I can refresh my memory on what we were doing here. Okay, she is moving on from the spot in the forest where she was hiding because it has been compromised. So, now she is going to flee somewhere else on the essentially command of the Lady of the Forest. Here, okay, good. Alright. I might have something open. Let's see. I might, you're right. Mute. Mute. Okay, hopefully that would fix it. I muted the tabs that have the stream going. So let me know if that fixed it or not. Testing, testing. Okay, I will go ahead and start then, but I'll check messages in case you guys notice something else is wrong, okay? Alright, chapter 7, Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marier. If I had any will at the moment, I would have followed Podrick's suggestion and hugged the bank of the lake, traveling close under the draping willows until I should reach some place of relative safety. I think that's supposed to be safety. I thought fuzzily that the lady had intended this and had moved me on for protection while I completed my task, but I had no energy to guide the craft. My mind was hazy with hunger, and I supposed I was ill. The faint rocking of the boat felt strangely erratic. The water was turbulent, and the passing trees tilted and swayed, making me dizzy. I sensed other hands were moving the small vessel on a path not of my choosing. The forest silks faded away behind, and within the ripples and surges of lake water other voices arose, liquid, evasive, murmuring one to the other as their owners bore my little boat swiftly, too swiftly, out on the increasingly choppy water. I blinked and stared, wondering how much was real and how much some feverish vision. There were long pale hands in the water, and faces with wide-set eyes, and hair like fronded weed, gray and green and blue. There were tails with jewel-bright scales. "Make haste," they sang one to another. "It's time." And so the boat moved faster and faster, as if on a swift river, and in the sky above heavy clouds gathered and hung, and the day grew dark. Fat raindrops began to spatter down around me, and there was a distant rumble of thunder. The small part of me that was still awake registered these things, and that I was alone in the middle of a large expanse of water, barefoot in my old dress, and a boat designed for peaceful shallows. The wind rose, and the little craft bobbed up and down as it went. He is out. Mondays and Wednesdays is usually my turn to stream if I'm not working. So, we were going to play video games tonight, but the compatriots that were going to join me are not feeling well. So, we're reading Daughter of the Forest currently. We're on chapter 7. I should probably turn this up so you can hear me a little better. Let me know if you hear my son in the background. He's playing with his friends. They get kind of loud. Wavelets sloshed in over the sides, soon soaking me to the waist. But it didn't feel cold. Instead, I was burning hot, and I heard their voices calling to me. Around, under, behind, and before me in the darkening water. It's easy, Sorsha. Slip over the side and down to us. It's cool here under the water, slip away, down. And another. Come away down, say farewell to your pain. Let the water wash it away. Come, let the water take you. Come and dance with us in the deep. Their voices were sweetly coaxing. I wanted to feel the cool water on my burning brow, wanted to sleep and forget. It would be so simple to lean over, to slide under the water and away from it all. Throw me your bundle, throw it! Let go your burden! I saw the long, clutching fingers stretching up toward me, and I came awake and clasped the bag tight to my chest. Never mind the barbs that pricked me through the canvas. No, I will not. Then I heard them laughing, high voices, deep voices, and the splashing of their tails as they moved around the boat. And they were gone, leaving me to the wind and water. Okay, good, Milu. I suppose I did come close to drowning that evening, but I was ill and tired, and at the time the danger seemed unimportant. After a time the sky blackened, and lightning split the darkness like great white spears flung with tremendous force into the earth. Squally rain passed over, and the boat was half filled with water. I gripped on with both hands to keep my balance, and knew it was only a matter of time before it sank. I knew, too, that I would not last long in the water. The lake had long since narrowed to a swift-flowing river, and the shore was closer now. A flash of lightning illuminated the rock walls and low clumps of bushes. We were beyond the edges of the forest, in more open country. Here and there I could see gaps in the rocks, and small stretches of bank where one might crawl ashore, if one had the strength. I fumbled for the pole, hoping to guide the craft to safety, for possibly it was shallower here. But my mind didn't seem to be able to direct my hands, and the pole slipped away from me and over the side, floating rapidly out of reach. I was too weak to swim after it, let alone gain the shore, and if I did not drown, the cold would finish me before morning. I was on fire with fever, and could not feel the chill, but the healer in me knew how this heat could deceive, and a person freeze to death while in its burning grip. The storm clouds parted briefly, and the moon appeared. Pale light spread suddenly across the surging water. There was a light on the shore, too, and a moment later a man's voice shouting, "Hey, what's that?" And another, "Out there, look! There's somebody in it! I think it's a girl!" The wind gusted, blowing my hair across my eyes. The boat was floating away from the shore again. I peered toward the small light. There were 2 men, one carrying some sort of lantern, and the other was stripping off his shirt and wading into the water. Then striking out toward me, swimming into the storm. "You're crazy!" shouted the other after him. He was coming closer, despite wind and current. His powerful body, white in the moonlight, moved in a straight path purposely toward me. He was a big man, moving with grim intention. My body tensed with fear, and suddenly the thought of slipping over the side, of sinking down below the water and out of this world, seemed altogether good, and the only sensible thing to do. I clutched my bag with my hands and stood up unsteadily. The wind did the rest for me, tipping the boat over so that it filled and sank. The water closed over my head. For long moments the cool was blissful, the wish for oblivion strong enough to blot out everything. Then the lungs craved air, and the spirit said, no, not yet. And I came up to the surface, choking, gasping, shivering, and terrified. Came up as he swam the last few strokes toward me and gripped me around the chest with a pair of arms like iron. I could not scream, but I fought him as hard as I could, scratching and kicking with the last of my strength. "Stop fighting, you fool," he snapped, and clamped the large hand over my mouth, turning me on my back and pulling me shoreward. I bit him. He swore, using a word I had heard, but only once, for the language he used was that of the Britons. His grip loosened enough for me to slip under the water again, and I tried to swim away, evade him somehow, but my nostrils filled with water, and I felt it painfully in my chest. And then he grabbed my hair, and I felt myself inexorably towed to shore, held in a grip too strong to break. I was weeping, and my nose was running, and I was so scared, this time, that I truly wished I had drowned. "Hello, Shadow Dancer." As a reminder, she cannot speak or make any noise because part of being able to break the curse on her brothers is remaining silent, as well as making them shirts from the starwort plant that stings her fingers. So that's why she can't scream or protest. We reached the bank where he slung me over his shoulder unceremoniously, like some prize of the hunt. "Fool," remarked his companion. The two of them began walking up among the bushes, away from the water. I noticed he was carrying my bag in his hand. Both of them had knives in their belts. I thought I would snatch one when they stopped to put me down. Before I let them do anything to me, I would kill myself. For why else would men like these bother rescuing me, but to make use of my body, then throw me aside? What else could they want with a wretched girl, half starved, half drowned? But I would not let them have me, not this time. I would stop them by whatever means there were. But when we reached shelter under a rock wall, I saw that there was a third man waiting for them in the darkness. I had no strength left to protect myself, and I lay there helpless where he dropped me. They had dimmed the lantern, but I could see they were Britons, and dressed for fast and silent travel across country. "We'll have to light a fire." This was the voice of my rescuer. "You're mad," said the other one, him with the lantern. "What about Redbeard and his men? They can't be far behind us." "You heard him, light a fire." That was a third man, who sounded somewhat older than the others. I dared not open my eyes further than a slit. "Small fire. The storm will keep our pursuers until dawn. We should be well clear by then." I heard someone fiddling with the lantern, and after a while, a gentle crackling. A little glow spread out, casting its orange light over their grim faces. They spoke quietly among themselves, and after a while I managed to put names to them. The older one was John. The man who had carried the lantern, young, golden-haired, was called Ben. As for the tall man who had fished me out of the river, his name seemed to be Red, unlikely though that sounded. Now he was going through my bag. I shut my eyes and tried to stop shivering. "She held on to that tight enough. What's in it? The family jewels?" There was no answer. After a while, I opened my eyes a little. Red was closing the flap of the bag. "Not much," he said. His voice sounded strange. He looked strange, too. His face went in and out of focus as he bent over me. I clenched my teeth in revulsion. "I think she's sick. Here, give me your cloak, Ben." "Hey, it's cold. What about me?" The reply was plaintive, but his companion handed it over, and I felt its warmth settle around me. The man's hand touched my shoulder, and I flinched away, biting back a scream. For a moment I stared straight up into his eyes, which were blue and bore a puzzled look. He was frowning. Oh, do we have Sinister Valkyrie in here? Hello, 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 Denise. Let's see if there's anybody else I missed. Mary Beth, hello. Matthew. Okay. "Easy," he said. "Easy there," as if talking to some nervous horse or half-wild dog. Now, I thought, Now they'll try to grab hold of me, and I'll. My mind got no further. And there were 3 of them, all armed and all far bigger and stronger than those others. These were hardened travelers. I had no chance, but I had sharp teeth and nails, and I would use them until I had no strength left. "Take off your clothes," said Red, and my body curled in on itself in terror. I felt myself shaking. My thumping heart measured the silence. How long before they laid their filthy hands on me? How long could I stifle the scream of outrage that welled in my throat? "What's wrong with you?" His voice was exasperated. "Here." He was holding something out to me. Ben spoke. "She doesn't understand you, Red. After all, she's one of the natives, and a couple of sheaves short of the haystack at that." "More likely she's been hurt before," put in the older man. "Terrified to let you near her. Give her the clothes and move back. Not much point in trying to talk to her. I doubt if she has the wit to understand you, let alone the language. You need to show her you mean no harm." My rescuer raised his eyebrows and put what he was carrying down on the ground next to me. Then the 3 of them moved back to the edge of the overhang, and, exchanging glances, turned away from me. "This is stupid," Ben said with his back to me. "Who is this, some princess of the blood? First, she's a barbarian. Second, she's about to be bright as a lump of wood. And third, Redbeard's men are on our trail, armed to the teeth. And here we are observing the niceties of female modesty. I think this forced waif has turned your heads." "Shut up, Ben," said Red, and his companion did. I realized I'd been given a rather big shirt of coarse linen, and a belt to keep it on. It smelled of sweat, but it was dry. There was some sort of undershirt as well. Red glanced back over his shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna go tell Everett to quiet down a bit. I can hear you with these on. You're being way too. Uppers. Okay. Okay. Red glanced back over his shoulder. "You're supposed to take off your wet clothes and put these on," he said, but it was clear he did not expect me to understand. He turned around fully and mimed the action for me as I stared. Perhaps I thought they really didn't intend to hurt me. In any event, there was little to lose. I could feel the fever gripping me, burning. I had enough common sense left to know dry clothes would help. Red turned his back again. "Why bother talking to her?" inquired Ben. He looked several years younger than his friend, possibly only just old enough for the expedition of this kind, whatever it was. If they were indeed Britons, they were a long way from home. "You've only got to look at her to tell she's not all there. You may have had your reasons for coming here, but even you must admit that this has been a waste of time. And now we're risking our one chance of escape for some half-witted girl. This is the last time you drag me along on some fool's errand." "You talk of fools," said John, "in the heat of the moment. But when he asks you next time, you will go with him. Now hold your tongue, lest you make bad worse." And while they argued, I managed, heart-pounding, to take off my sodden gown and struggle into the dry garments, tying the vast shirt as well as I could around my waist. The belt went around me twice and was still loose. The argument, such as it was, drew to a close. The 3 of them turned back and scrutinized me as I sat, still shivering, by the tiny fire. There was the faintest hint of amusement on the older man's face as he regarded me. I suppose I did look a little odd. "So far, so good," said Red, whose own expression gave away nothing at all. "Put the cloak on, too." I gave no sign that I understood. He picked it up and dropped it over my shoulders. I flinched as his hands drew close, but its warmth was welcome now, and I drew the folds around me. "Good," he said. Now rest, rest. He pointed to the ground by the fire and pillowed head on hands. That seemed suddenly like quite a sensible idea, and I lay down, still shivering, and soon sank into a feverish half-sleep in the midst of which their low voices came to me in snatches. You're mad, Red. We've got less than a day to get down there and meet the boat. What are we supposed to do with her? That was Ben, who had held the lantern on the shore. In any event, not leave her to drown, said John. She'll do well enough here by morning if we leave her a blanket. I wonder what she was doing out there. Pretty strange weather for fishing, remarked Ben. These are strange people, said the old man. I've heard they sometimes cast their own adrift from the shore as a punishment. Maybe this girl offended someone. She would have drowned. The one they called Red seemed to be a man of few words. He spoke now more quietly than his companions. She has a fever. More than that, she's scared to death. Well, she would be, said Ben. She's one of them, isn't she? That makes us the enemy. Perhaps she expects the sort of treatment of her own kind hand... Wait, what? Okay, that's switched around. Maybe she expects the sort of treatment her own kind hand out to people they don't fancy. She hasn't spoken, observed John, nor made a sound, perhaps not so much lacking in her wits as mute or deaf. She looks half wild. She may well have been abandoned by her people, seeing she has a deficiency, and left to fend for herself. I wouldn't be too concerned about her, Red. You've done your good deed. She'll recover. There was a silence for a while. They shared a bottle of water and a few strips of dried meat. A ration was left close to me, but I could not touch the salt beef, and I drank only a sip or two from the cup. Then Red volunteered to keep watch, and they put out the lantern. The others rolled into blankets and soon slept. They seemed like men who had been on the move for a long time, and I knew how to do things neatly and quietly. But my presence there clearly made things far from neat. Hello, Ashley. Welcome in. Amazingly, I must have slept for some time to be woken abruptly before dawn, heart-pounding, by some nameless dream. Even in my sleep I must hold back speech or sound, but the Briton saw me start and sit up. I suppose my face reflected the demon still lurking on the edges of my consciousness. He sat there quite still by the tiny glow of the remnant fire, watching me. I could see now where the name Red came from. His hair was cropped ruthlessly short, but both it and the few days' stubble of beard were lit by the fire's glow to the bright red gold of autumn sun on oak leaves. His face was formidable, though he was young in years, perhaps not much more than Liam's age. The nose was long and straight, the jaw set firm, the mouth wide and thin-lipped. You would not want this man as an enemy. Further away, his two companions still slept, cocooned in blankets. It seemed he had taken more than one watch to let them rest. The rock overhang had kept us dry. Outside, the storm had abated, and the only sound was dripping and running of water between the stones. I wrapped my arms around myself, gripping the cloak with both hands. My head felt clearer and the nightmare was receding. Maybe I had enough strength to run. Maybe when his back was turned I could slip away quietly. They'd be glad to be rid of me. It sounded as if speed was of the essence, and from the look of him, this large young man would rather not have me around to slow the expedition down. Wherever it was going, no doubt he was already regretting fishing me out of the river. I was thinking hard, gauging how many steps it would take to get out into the open and away among the bushes. Then he spoke, startling me. Better eat something and drink. I stayed quite still. There was wisdom in not making it obvious I understood their language. If they thought me some sort of wild girl of the woods, some village idiot, I would be safer. I would not be much of a trophy or worth a hostage price. After all, I was my father's daughter. He scrutinized me as I sat there, huddled in the half-dark. Then he tried again, muting his voice so as not to wake the others. You, food. You, water. It seemed he had learned a few words in our tongue. His accent was laughable. I looked at him, and he held out a traveler's cup. I edged away from him, for however kind his words, he was a man, very tall and broad of shoulder, big enough and strong enough to do whatever he liked to me. My fever had come down, but I didn't seem to be able to stop shaking. He put the cup on the ground near me, and I retreated. When I failed to respond, he tried again. "You, water," he repeated. "Unless," he went on in his own tongue, "you feel, like me, that you've swallowed half the lake already." You made a good attempt to drown me, I thought. For an instant, a most curious feeling came over me, as if we were replaying a scene already a part of my life from somewhere long back, but suddenly changed. Then it was gone, and I picked up the cup, annoyed at the way my hand trembled and drank. And he was right, I did feel better. We're doing all right, Ashley. Castle is feeling much better. I think he just kind of has some remnants, and I'm okay. I don't feel sick, but I've had an issue with my ear, so I'm like deaf on this side right now. And I'm debating whether I want to go to the doctor for it or not. Constantin, yeah. I look very different without a beard, right? Yeah, Castle is out at the moment. He'll be here in a bit. Code is doing better today. I think he still had a little bit of an upset stomach this morning, but he's doing much better now. So, yeah. Mondays and Wednesdays I usually stream if I'm not working, so either gaming or reading. Except I read a different book. I don't read what Castle's reading, so. Yeah, everyone's doing okay. Yeah, Coda is feeling better. Yeah, he'll be fine. I don't know what was going on. He must have found something to eat that he shouldn't have. It is warm. What? I don't... You know, the walls of this place are pretty thin, so I'm always surprised that it retains so much heat. You'd think all the cold from outside would get in here. They do get into everything. Good, he said, not taking his watchful eyes off me. I drank again, my hand steadier on the cup now. In a minute I would try to get up, see if I could walk. If I could run, just for long enough to get away. For the Britons had their own desperate mission. They would not waste time seeking me. They would more likely be relieved at losing their unexpected burden. Then I would. At that point, the train of thought reached a blank. I was in unknown territory, without proper clothing, without food or tools or any help. And if I had understood right, a band of armed and dangerous men would be moving swiftly down on us once dawn broke. They'd said Redbeard. Could this be Seamus Redbeard, the father of Eilish? What if I were here and they found me? There would be men there that would know me, even after nigh on 2 years. What then? It did not bear thinking of. There would be a swift return to my father's house and to the Lady Una. The thought made my flesh crawl. That way was all darkness and death, for me and my brothers. I was in danger from both the Britons and the pursuers. I had to get away. Here, eat. The Briton held out a strip of the dried meat, as if to a nervous dog. I shook my head. Eat, he repeated, frowning. His eyes were as blue as ice, as blue as the sky on a frosty winter morning. I was hungry, but not so hungry that I could stomach flesh. Then he was putting the meat back in the bag where it seemed they kept their travelers' rations, and he was looking maybe for something else, and his eyes were turned away just for a moment. I moved fast and silently, using all the skills I had. Up, across, under the overhang, away. His hand shot out so swiftly I barely saw it. He gripped my arm painfully, jerking me to my knees beside him. I bit back a yelp of frustration and fear. Hello, one of a kind. And I am glad you are enjoying story time. Oh, you're working actually? Okay. Alright, have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow. I don't think so. He didn't even raise his voice. The others slept on. His hold did not slacken. He knew how to use the least force to cause the most hurt. That was certain. I was drawn up close to him, too close for comfort, and I smelled his sweat and his anger, and I felt his breath on my face and saw the chill in his eyes. His strength and quickness alarmed me. How could I ever have thought I could get away? The fever must indeed have made me stupid. But I was angry too. What game was he playing? Why keep me here now, when they needed to move on swiftly and unencumbered? He had hardly moved from where he sat, save to imprison my arm and hold me by him. His fingers dug into my flesh. He had very big hands. I could not quite stifle a gasp of pain, and his grip loosened, but not much. Got all the gifts ready? I still need to get something for my son, but I've gotten all the other young ones' gifts. Hello, John. Hostess with the mostess. Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you, Constantin. I appreciate that. And yeah, his family overseas all called him Castle, so either Castle or Jonathan, but I think mostly his cousins would call him Castle, so I've only ever known him as such, so that's what I call him. Or my dear, or my love, and gross people out. Stuffed plushie replica of her late dog. Aww, that's sweet. Yeah, I think she'll like that. Damn you. Oh, never mind, that's not her. Damn you, he said, still in that quiet, level voice. 3 moons and more, and I've been in this godforsaken country searching for answers. Traveled to the strangest places on earth. Followed every lead, turned every wretched stone. Put my friends at risk of their lives, and for what? Hunger and cold and a knife in the dark. There is no truth on this island of yours. Rather, there are as many truths as there are stars in the sky, and every one of them different. I gaped at him. Whatever I had expected him to say, it was not this. Ew, affection. Yeah, thanks, Milu. I don't know about hydrated. I'm drinking coffee, so probably not super hydrated. There's water in it, but I think the caffeine's probably not helping with the hydration part. I should get water. I could swear you understand me, he said, looking directly into my eyes. And yet, how could you? What was it Connor had said once about me and Finbar? The two of them are like open books. Their thoughts blaze like a beacon from their eyes. I hoped this Briton could not read me so well. It was starting to get light. I heard his companions stirring. You want to go, he stated. Where, I can't imagine. But I suppose you have some bolt hole near here. Perhaps to hide in until your countrymen arrive. Maybe you think to watch them hack us to pieces. I did not think you one of our enemy, not when I stopped you from drowning yourself. Perhaps you really are an innocent, as my friends believe, too simple to be dangerous. I tried to wrench my arm from his grip. No, he said without emphasis. 3 moons with no answers, and now on the last day, the very last, I find this first piece of the puzzle. And who do I get to explain it? A girl who can't talk, or won't. See this. He was reaching into his pocket, and for the first time there was a note in his voice beyond the quietly conversational. Tell me where you got this. And there it was, Simon's little carving, a small oak tree in its protective circle, and the wavy lines which may or may not have been water. Nothing of interest in my bag, he'd said to his friends. Nothing much. That in itself had been strange enough. You'd have thought the Star Wars shirts were worth a comment. But it was this item that had caught his attention. "Tell me," he said, "who gave you this?" And now he was really frightening me. I willed all expression from my face. Think of nothing, let him know nothing. It was as well I was bound to silence. I was no liar, but think how the truth would sound. It came from another of your kind. He was tortured at my father's home and came close to death by the hot iron, close to death and closer to madness. We saved him, and I tried to help him, and he was getting better, and then I left him alone when he most needed me. He went out into the forest without the means for survival. Even now the mosses creep on his white bones somewhere under the great oaks. Birds pluck his golden hair to line their nests, and his empty eyes gaze up forever at the stars. That was the truth. "Damn you," said the Briton again. "Why won't you speak? I will have this answer from you before I let you go." And then the others were waking, rising in silence to roll bedding and stow gear, to check weapons and make all in readiness for a swift departure. And I thought, you will have a long wait for your answer, for you must wait until the 6 shirts of starwort are spun and woven and sewn together, until the day my brothers return, and I slip the shirts over their necks, and the spell is broken. Until that day you will hear no answer from my lips, and no man has the patience to wait so long. In the grey light before dawn, I watched them ready themselves, and marveled at the silent understanding between them that spoke of long days and nights in the field or on the run. I did not know what they were or where they were going. They were spies, perhaps, like those my father had captured and held in his secret chamber, or perhaps they were mercenaries for hire. Their watchful faces, their hard bodies, their light gear and carefully tended weapons told of long experience and serious purpose. They were soon ready, finding time even to allow me a few moments' privacy for a body's essentials. I knew now not to try to run. He would outwit me wherever I went. He would outwit me whatever I tried, for now. When I returned from my ablutions, they were talking in low voices. "No point in arguing. Fred says we're taking her, we're taking her. We'll be slow. Let's leave now and cover as much ground as we can before full light." Ben was enraged. His words came out in a sort of hiss, for they were all muttering their tone. I suppose the men who sought them might be close at hand. "This is complete folly. Forget the girl. She'll do well enough out here, and if not, what of it? Her kind are no more than savages, killers every one. How many good men have we lost in those accursed woods, or come home mere shells of their former selves? I don't know what chivalrous impulse has gotten into you, Red, but I know I'm not risking my hide for her. As for you, John, your brains must be addled to let him get away with this. It's insanity." Red took no notice of him, but hefted his pack onto his back and held out a hand to me. "Come on," he said, snapping his fingers, and I stared at him. I would not be treated like some hound that would follow her master's every bidding. "Come," he said again, and this time he gripped my arm where he'd hurt me before, and I sucked in my breath. "She's got a few bruises," remarked John. "I hope you know what you're doing, Red." Red looked at him. "I do," he said. "Now, we split up, so my good friend here can't complain about the girl slowing him down. You two will take our original path back down to the cove. You should keep ahead of them if you're to go now, and the boat should be ready to pick you up before they get there, with luck." "What about you?" required Ben. "I'll take the girl and come around by the bluffs and down the cliff path. More dangerous, perhaps, but more direct. They're more likely to follow you, I think. I'll skirt the river as far as I can. If I'm not there in time for the boat, don't wait. Cross over to safe mooring. I'll meet you at the priory." "How?" said John, scratching his head. But there was no reply, and nobody was going to argue. That seemed to be the way it is. Red made the choices, and the others accepted them, even when, as it seemed to me, they were foolish beyond belief. How could a man who acted so unpredictably, who made such erratic decisions, be their leader? If it had been Liam, now, he would have consulted his men and reached a sensible compromise. Here there was no more discussion. Ben and John shouldered packs and disappeared between the bushes, silent-footed, and Red grasped my wrist and pulled me after him, back down toward the river. I resisted, tugging hard enough for him to turn back, exasperated. Oh, thank you, Ashley. I think you're probably gone now, but thank you for the little doggies. Yep. We're not going to get far this way, he said. He knew where I was pointing. Or he saw where I was pointing. My bag with its cargo of starwort still lay where he had dropped it under the overhang, near the smothered remnants of our small fire. All right, he said, scooping it up and throwing it to me. But you carry it. It was a long and desperate morning. I tried to keep up with him, but I knew I was holding him back. The going was not easy, especially once the land rose in scarp and ridge, the meager track traversing rock and scree and scrubland, climbing high above the winding course of the river. The lake and the forest fell behind us as we moved ever eastward and a little north. The sun rose steadily in the sky. I had done many a trip with my brothers through the forest, staying out at night, living wild for a day or two. I was swift and knew how to move in the woods and choose a path, but this was different. Thank you for the stars, John. Appreciate you. I've never had the chance to see her read before. Are you excited? Well, welcome in, Mom. We are reading Daughter of the Forest. We're on chapter 7, so you'd have missed quite a lot. But if you end up liking it, we should have the videos in a list. Should be in the Gilded. There should be a link to the list and you can watch the past ones. Okay. To start with, I was far weaker than I had thought, and found I must stop more and more often to draw breath before going on. And I had no shoes. Tough as my feet were, the rocks cut them and they bled. Red made few concessions beyond grabbing my wrists or arm to haul me up after him, or waiting silently for me to catch up. His expression was somber, regretting his decision, I thought, and no wonder. He had water in a skin bottle and shared it with me. The sun rose higher, promising a warm day. We crossed the river, or rather, he crossed it, wading steadily through the waist-deep waters of a ford and carrying me over his shoulder. When we got to the far bank, he dumped me down on a flat-topped rock. So far, so good, he said, squatting down beside me so that his eyes were on a level with mine. He looked at me closely. The light blue gaze was shrewd. They are still far enough behind, he said, but not so very far. They have divided their forces, I think. Can you go further? I tried not to show I understood him. It was not easy. My feet were hurting and my head was getting that strangely fuzzy feeling again. Yet I knew there was no choice but to go on. Hello, Rachel, and hello. Greetings to all on the tube, yeah. Okay. Men, he said, trying the language he knew I might understand. Bad men, you, me, walk. He used gestures to convey this message to me, and I was taken with an urge to giggle, despite the seriousness of the situation. I set my mouth firmly, determined to show neither weakness nor any other emotion. I considered vaguely what path I had been meant to take when the forest lady had sent me down the lake in a little boat away from the forest. Where had I gone wrong? For this surely was the wrong way. Eastward, ever eastward with pounding head and bleeding feet, and a grim-faced stranger for company. How would my brothers find me so far from home? I looked at Red again. He was studying my feet, and then my hands, and his expression was quite odd. Mocking, I thought. But his derision was not turned on me, but inward. "Strong-minded, aren't you?" he said, slipping the pack off his back and hunting inside it. He took out an old linen garment, which he proceeded to tear into strips, holding a corner between his strong white teeth. "But these feet will take no more today. Here." His hands worked deftly to bind both my feet with strips of cloth, tying them neatly in place. He was good. I could hardly have done a better job myself. I let him do it, thankful for the few minutes' rest. Never mind that these soft bandages would not last the day's walk. I supposed he meant well. After all, if I could not make the distance, neither could he. Unless he left me behind. "Good," he said. "And now you must eat something, and then we finish our journey. There are apples growing here, did you see? It seems they ripen early in these parts. Perhaps they are more to your taste than our rations." And apples there were, little green ones with a faint blush of pink on the skin, round and perfect. He picked one and corded it neatly with a small lethal knife. "Here," he said, offering me a segment. I took it, wondering greatly. They had indeed ripened before their due time, and strangely. There were several trees in this sheltered spot, but only one whose fruit seemed ready for eating. On the others they hung hard and green. There are many stories in our country with apples in them. They are the fruit of the fair folk, and used more than once to tempt mortal man or woman to stay in the place under the hill far longer than is good for them. Apples are a token of love, a promise. It was clear that Red had never heard what it meant, for a man to share an apple with a young woman. Perhaps, I thought, it didn't work with Britons anyway. "Hello, Frostbeard. Welcome in." Besides, I was hungry and there was a long way to go, so I took his gift and ate it, and another piece, and it was the best thing I ever tasted. When we'd finished, I got up to walk on, but Red stopped me. "No," he said. "This will be quicker." He picked me up in his arms like a small child. "You'll have to hold on," he said. "Don't worry, I don't bite." It was a losing race from the outset. Perhaps if his prediction had been right and the pursuers had gone after his two companions, we would have made our way to safety in time. The Briton pressed on tirelessly, bearing my weight with no apparent difficulty, putting me down to scale a rock wall, pulling me up one-armed as he clung on, or helping me around an overhang or down a crumbling bank. But before long it became evident that they were closing in on us. I did not know how far there was to go. There was a damp, fresh smell in the air that suggested a large expanse of water, and many birds wheeled overhead. We were passing through thickets of rowan, and as we went, our clothes were torn by brambles, and our faces and arms whipped and scratched by twigs and thorns. The pace was fast. I felt the steady thump of the Briton's heart as he began to run soft-footed under the trees. He swore under his breath, and I heard the undeniable sound of many boots crunching on leaves to our right, and to our left, and behind us, and the hiss of an arrow coming over his shoulder to lodge, whirring in the trunk of his stately, berry-laden rowan tree. The Briton whispered an oath and dropped me. "Run," he said, drawing his short sword and turning his back to the tree. "Go on, run!" He made an urgent movement with his arm. He meant me to go on alone, while he fought them off. "Go, damn you, go!" I found I could not move, and then it was too late. They were all around us, stepping out from cover. Men with the field armor my brothers wore. Men with the long, clever faces and dark curling hair of my own people. Men with hatred and vengeance in their eyes. One was reloading a longbow. The others had drawn swords. They took their time advancing. "There's a knife in my left boot," muttered Red, moving his sword from hand to hand. "Take it, use it, and run if you can." I snatched it, and he glanced at me sharply before he stepped forward, thrusting me behind him, and the first of our attackers charged. Yelling and wielding his blade in a maneuver I recognized well from the practice yard at home. My brothers would have responded by ducking and slashing at the opponent's knees. Red didn't duck. Instead, his boot came up, lightning swift, and he knocked the sword out of his opponent's hand, catching it neatly in his own. In an instant, it seemed, he had sent the man reeling away with blood staining his right sleeve. Posture check. I'm already sitting up. But thank you. I can stretch. Instead. Question for the lovely lady. Can a chapter be told from the viewpoint of a deuteragonist? What is that? What is a deuteragonist? I don't know. What is it? Have I missed anyone? Thank you, Benjamin, for the little ice cream. Is that ice cream? I think it's ice cream. But yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. We always appreciate the little gifts. Matthew, I don't know what a deuteragonist is. Okay, I guess I'll look it up. Oh, goodness. A person second in importance to the protagonist in a drama. I see, I see, I see. Yep, got it. Thank you, Mary Beth. Appreciate that. Probably sent that right as I was looking it up.
Oh, God.
You mean in this book? All of it is from her point of view. You want me to make it up? Is that what you're... Is that what you're saying? I do like it, though, when it serves a story. Yes, but you type faster than I do. Captain Hoodie always calls it angry typing. But it's just a really loud keyboard. This is Castle's keyboard. I like quiet ones. But now I have one that isn't quiet. I got it because it looks like a typewriter, the keys. And I thought it was really cute, so. Wait, what? Could you do pirate accent to compensate for my confusion? What? What? I don't know that I could. I'd have to practice. In general, I mean, yeah. It could. It could. I was just gonna say, I do like it when stories, like books, do that. If it serves the story. If it's just done just because I don't think it really matters. But sometimes there is much for the reader to get from seeing another perspective, I think. Hello, Polly Chaser. That's funny. Pirate accent, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I think I would just sound silly. Alright. Is my son still being too loud? Did our bearded pirate man kidnap you? Yes, he did. It's okay. I wanted to be kidnapped, so it's fine. Angry typing. My keyboard on my laptop is bending up. That's angry typing. That's funny. Blink twice if you need help. No, I'm good. He is taking quite a long time though. Should check in on him, see if he's okay. He's probably just busy. Probably getting beat on by some older ladies at Costco. It's the holidays, you know. No, there's no reason to forgive the silliness. You go ahead, be silly. Silliness is completely acceptable in the tavern. Okay. we'll leave it at that. We'll see if he gets back to me. Oh, that's right, he went to the bank for me too. It's just on all kinds of errands. All right. They gathered in a semicircle not too close. Among them were men I had seen before at my father's table. I stayed behind Red as far as I could. "He can fight," said one. "The bastard can fight. Who's next?" It was like the tale of Cuchulainn when his son comes to do battle. But I had not realized men still played such deadly games. A sort of single combat where each took his turn with the interloper, until at last he was vanquished, or they had enough and moved in together to finish him off. It could be a slow way to die. Yes, I am the Mrs. Pirate Beard. "I'll take him on," said another, hefting his sword. "My brother died in the ambush on Ardruan, aye, and many a good friend as well. Let him pay his..." That is definitely a typo, but I can't tell what that's supposed to say. Alright, well, I think we'll just say let him pay blood for the blood that was spilled there. The archer stood back, his bow drawn. It was clear that, while they might choose to have each his turn with the Briton, there could be but one end result. The second man set grimly to the fight. He had more skill than the other, and his tactic was clear: to edge Red out from cover, away from the Rowan at his back and into a more vulnerable position. But Red had the advantage of them all in his height and weight, and he was no mean hand with the sword himself. In addition, he was light on his feet for such a big man, and the clashing of blades and sound of labored breathing went on for some time. The men who were watching kept up a running commentary, derisive of their own when he made an error, and Red's blade drew a delicate scarlet line across his cheek, foul and abusive when they addressed the Briton. They accused him of the vilest things. It was a cruel sort of sport. Red fought on without a word, apparently tireless. I supposed he understood their meaning, if not their words. His silence, I think, unnerved his opponent, so that for just a moment he took his eyes off the Briton. The moment was enough. The flat of Red's blade whacked down on his forearm, and he dropped his sword. His arm suddenly useless, probably broken. "Bastard!" he hissed through gritted teeth. "You filthy... you fight dirty. Like all your people." Then the rest of them closed in, and it was suddenly 4 or 5 against 1, and the chaos was all around me. Red had been keeping me behind him, but now he was forced to whirl this way and that. Hi.
Oh, are you reading?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Lucas got food poisoning, and Destiny has migraines. So, we decided to skip out. Mom, is that you?
You decided to skip doing games?
Hmm?
You said you decided to skip games?
Yeah, because they're not feeling good.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm living this conversation, but what? Did I miss something? But never rudeness. Yeah, no rudeness in the tavern, please. Yep, he has arrived. This is Mom? Yeah, I'm usually called Mom. Mom, this is Polly Chaser, introduction complete. Oh, Shadow, you're funny. Yep, the bearded creature appeared.
Yes, indeed.
I am hot. How are you not dying in that jacket?
I'm very warm.
Yeah, I thought so.
But
Oh, you got kicked? No, don't be kicked. Oh, we love the head smoochies. I love them too.
I brought you, they had, so they did have whole bean coffee,
Awesome.
but there was also something else.
What?
okay with it.
Okay. I got surprises. It's encouraged even, yes. The silliness is encouraged. It's totally fine. You entered right as I told someone on the bus the chair compels you. Oh my gosh. You spreading word of the chair cult? Is that what's going on? You're so silly. Alright. Let's see. I think I accidentally changed the page. Okay. As one man after another came in to the attack. Further away, the archer waited, silent. I held the small knife in my hand, wondering if I would have the will to use it. If I got the chance. Bodies were falling to the ground, and there were groans and curses, and I could see at least one man was dead. His head was at a most improbable angle. Red had moved away from the tree, and I was wheeling among his opponents. I gave him a matter of moments. "Run!" he shouted without looking at me. "Run, damn you!" Then one of the men thrust and he parried it. And at the same time another slashed low at his legs. And a third came at him from behind. And he let out his breath with a hiss as his weapon fell to the ground. And I felt a grip on my shoulder and my hair, and I was turned about to face one of Seamus's men at close quarters. "I know you," he said slowly. "I know you from somewhere, I'm sure of it. What's a good little lass like you doing out here in the wilds with a British freak, huh? Or perhaps not such a good little girl after all, selling him secrets along with your body, maybe. We'll see what my lord has to say about that." He yanked my hair back painfully. "Hang on," said one of the others. "Isn't she—" "No, it can't be. She died. This 2 years ago or more. Can't be her." "You mean—" "But it is her. Look at the green eyes on her, like a cat's." Ooh, those look good. Yeah.
You want one?
Maybe later. I don't really want to be eating muffin while I'm reading. Run, Forrest. Am I doing this right? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we really need to oil our oranges. While I'm thinking about it and not interrupting the story, what do you and Cass want for Yule? I think we're okay. I don't know if there's anything that we need right now. Right?
Yeah. She can give Mason.
You can just join more lives so we can have you around.
She can give.
That will be the best gift.
She can give Mason a gigantic
Yes,
smooch
that's
from
Castle.
us.
Yeah, give Mason a big smooch.
But from
I
us
technically got
specifically.
these.
Give Mason a gigantic smooch from us is.
Yeah, specifically from us. It's warm. My hands are cold, so it feels good. But every other part of my body is like a furnace. Okay. I'm sure we could put up with you taking a wee muffin break. That is nice of you. I appreciate that. But Tyson was asking if you came in, so
I did.
I'm sure he and many others will want to say hello.
Hello, my friends.
Look how much darker you look.
Oh yeah, you are pale and elf-like.
Yeah, look, I still have like light glow on my face because I couldn't make any darker than that without it being too dark.
I am of the dwarven race. My people have
The dwarf.
darker
You're
skin.
awfully big for a dwarf.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Hi Tyson, how's it going, mate? Are you on everything or just?
I'm on everything.
You know, you can click multi-stream. It'll give you the combined chat. Go down. There.
Oh.
That'll give you everything.
Look, you weren't here.
I
did
I had set
my
you up.
best.
I had set you up just for Twitch because I figured you were going to be on Twitch.
well, but we weren't gonna play games, so
I see. That's all right.
it was a little finagling at the beginning, but it worked out. We're good, right? Oh, you gotta go, Mary Beth. All right. Good night. Thank you for coming in and hanging out for a bit. Whew, okay. I'm warm.
You do look like you're sweltering a little bit.
Had you on the TV, you are not on there. So not on everything? Well, I'm on Twitch, which you can put on the TV if it's a smart TV. And I'm on YouTube.
Hello,
so
Molly.
Same. If I casted the Patronus charm, would I have a random thing appear? That'd be funny. Alright. But it is her. Look at the green eyes on her, like a cat's. Tie her hands, we'll take her back. Make her a prisoner. You could get in big trouble for that. You know whose daughter she is, and you know what Leon's like. Think what her brothers would do to you if they found out she's our own kind. Fat chance of them ever coming back. Besides, why is she with him? Tie her hands. As the man reached for my wrist, rope in hand, I struck upward with the little knife, and he let out an oath and released me. Blood was welling from his hand. I dropped the knife. Red was under attack from all sides. He seemed to be having trouble staying upright, as if one leg was giving way. One of the taller men had a knife close to Red's neck. Red gripped the man's wrist and held the knife away, muscles staining. Above the bright blade, his eyes met mine, and their expression at last showed something beyond icy calm. He was going to die, and I would be taken home. Home to the Lady Una and certain death for my brothers. I called for help. If at any time I needed the fair folk to intervene, this was it. Not that they'd been much help thus far. I called out to them, to anyone that might hear, with a silent scream from deep within the heart. Help him. He should not die, not like this. Help me, for if I perish, so do my brothers. The rain came. It came from a clear sky that suddenly turned gray. As the warm day was in an instant as chill as midwinter. Hello, Stormy. Was your Patronus a shapeshifter? That'd be fun, though. Random black hole appears. Got in way too late. How far are we? We are on chapter 7, and the chapters are quite long. So.
Do I have a tale of daring do to send out to the children?
A tale of daring do?
Yes.
I don't know, do you?
Did you finish the video that was...
No, there was no time to finish the video.
Okay, never mind. That was what I was asking.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
Sorry.
Are you
We'll
good?
do it after.
I'll finish it after.
No, I'll do it after.
You'll have to.
No, you need to record more so I can edit more videos.
That's true. I'm actually going to go work on scripts right now unless you need something from me. Do you want more coffee?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. So the story is inspired by the old folks' tale, Irish folk tale, of the...
Children of Lear.
Well, yes, the children of Lear, but then I think there's another story about characters turning into swans. So, not about baby trees, I assume. No, not about baby trees. So, she comes from a prominent family in Ireland, and her father is a lord, and she was meant to be the seventh son of a seventh son, which is quite important usually in Irish lore, but she was not a son, she was a daughter.
Wait. Her father was what?
A lord.
Her father was a what?
A lord!
What? In what country?
In Ireland. A chieftain, but they call him...
No.
What?
He's a laird.
A lard.
He's a laird.
A lard.
Can't be a lord. What is he, British?
Look!
He's a laird.
I don't have your accent.
I know, I'm just teasing you.
Being a poo.
Just teasing.
Yeah. tell him he's going to walk the plank if he keeps this up. No, he's the one that gives orders around here. I just give them to everybody else. Becca is poking me, yeah. She's looking for attention. But yes, anyway, so they are in a forest that has apparently been hard to reach for basically everybody because the forest seems to have some magic about it and keeps them protected. How do you put up with them at time? Yeah, it's okay. I can put up with it.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, pretty good.
Something.
So, their mother died when she was born, and we kind of followed them along, got to know her and her brothers a little bit, and then her father decided that he was going to remarry, and it turns out she seems to be a sorceress, and she's trying to get rid of them all. She ends up turning all of her brothers into swans, and in order to save them, she needs to... What's that? It's lard, yeah. Lard. Stop appropriating my culture. No. Hello, goblins, order! Those two things don't go together, though. Not really. So yes, anyway, to save her brothers, she has to be silent. She cannot speak or make noise from her mouth. And she has to fashion 6 shirts for them. From starwort, which is a very prickly plant that looks like it's soft, but is actually like a bunch of little teeny tiny needles that will hurt your skin. Just pop up, thanks universe. Hello, Gemini. Excuse me, it's been 5 seconds since the last I got attention. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now you're just trying to be offensive, huh? Castle had done a video on leprechauns and what they're actually like. But I think we took it down because we're redoing them all in the newer format. So we'll have to redo it. I can make it work, yeah. I don't know, goblins in order. It's like an oxymoron. All right. A drenching, uncanny, druidic rain that blinded and deafened, that cut off each man from the world. It was like standing under a great waterfall. It was like being in the heart of a storm. I could see nobody, hear no sound but the roaring of the torrent as it thundered down, soaking me in an instant, turning the ground to mud under my bare feet. Then I reached out through the sheets of water, and a large hand took mine. And the two of us were running, stumbling, slipping through the mud, sprinting blind between bushes and brambles, gasping for air, our faces and bodies streaming, our feet making sucking noises in the wet earth. I could hear Red's breathing this time, the labored gasping of a sound of a man. Okay, my eyes are bugging out. I might need glasses. With a serious injury, who pushes himself too far. I thought he could not go much further. Then the ground gave way and we were sliding, falling down a steep drop, clutching at branches, crashing through foliage, bouncing off rocks that bruised and battered us, until finally we came to rest on hard, dry ground. The sound of our precipitous descent died slowly. Small stones still fell from above, dislodged by our passing. Then it was quiet, save for the sound of the rain and the two of us gasping for air. "Are you all right?" asked Red eventually in an odd sort of voice. I blinked the water out of my eyes, used both hands to push back the saturated curls that were plastered to my face, tried to wring my hair dry. We were inside a cave. Glancing up, I could see the narrow gap through which we'd fortuitously fallen into the sheltered space. The ground was hard as rock. Poor little 7th girl, yeah. Yeah, she's got to go through a lot of hardship. But it should end well. Okay, Matthew. You guys are silly. Behind us, a narrow passage seemed to lead to some larger cavern, but it bent around, obscuring further vision. I looked out the other way. Light streamed in through a curtain of concealing foliage. The rain, it seemed, had ceased as abruptly as it had started. I moved toward the entrance. "Careful," said Red, grabbing hold of my shirt tail as I passed him. I wrenched it out of his grasp, but went slowly, for the rocks became slick, with water near the cave entrance. I peered out through the network of vines and creepers, and stood stock still in wonder. "You have never seen the sea before," observed Red quietly. I had not. Though my brothers had told me of the great expanse of wild water, and the myriad birds, and the light that glittered and changed and played on the shifting surface, nothing could have prepared me. Our cave was high on a steep slope that lower down became a sheer cliff, and I looked out over a vast distance, and the whole of the distance was water, water all the way to the horizon. The sky was hot blue, there was no sign of cloud. The rocks around me steamed gently in the sun. All trace of the sudden rainstorm would be gone soon, except maybe later in stories, and our pursuers would be on the move. I turned back to the Briton. He sat with his back against the rock wall, and one leg stuck out awkwardly in front of him. There was blood on his clothing, quite a lot of blood. Now that I looked at him properly, he was rather white in the face, with a grin set to his lips. Men can be a bit stupid about injuries if they get in battle, as if pretending there's nothing wrong will make it go away, or that people won't notice if you keep quiet about it. "They'll be after us," he said, "and not a dagger or a bit of scrap metal between us. I'm afraid there's no choice but to stay here until after dark. Perhaps then we can slip by them. There's a settlement up the coast away and small boats moored there." I stared at him, thinking of that vast expanse of water, unwilling to accept the implications of what he said. But from the looks of that leg, he'd be lucky to hobble as far as the cave mouth, let alone down the cliff and off to some village. And what was meant to happen then? I decided his friend Ben had been right. He was crazy. That being said, he needed my help, and I was determined to give it. For I had no doubt that he saved my life, at least once, probably twice. I owed him something, whatever his motives. I still had my little pack, and he his. A small mercy. He watched me as I crouched by him, examining the wound. So he'd lost his sword, and I his other weapon. That was a problem. But wait, what about the little knife he'd used to cut up an apple so neatly? I rummaged through his pack. He looked on in silence. I found the knife and the remnants of the old shirt he'd used to make bandages for my feet. I looked down ruefully. The wrappings were completely gone, and my feet were a mess of blood and dirt. "Water," he said helpfully. "You'll need water. You can understand me, can't you?" I nodded. It seemed as if the time of pretense was over. He had known, I thought, as soon as he had told me to take his small dagger and defend myself, and I did as he bid me. I pointed within the cave. There was the sound of running and dripping, and I knew that I would find fresh water further down. What to do first? His clothing was already torn open. I slid it further and eased off his damaged boot. This must have caused him great pain, but apart from a sudden intake of breath, he did not acknowledge it. There was enough light for me to see the ugly gash that split his calf from knee to ankle, to see the fresh blood still welling out, to see the depth of it and the glint of metal lodged far inside the wound. I glanced up at his face. "Strong-minded, aren't you? The injury would not kill him, not if he had proper treatment, and a healer skilled with the knife, and the right nursing after. But here, trapped in a cave with no supplies, and the two of us covered in mud and debris, and the need for quiet on us, it was a different matter entirely." "Not good, huh?" he said expressionlessly. "Can you patch it up? Wrap a bit of something around it for me?" I nodded, trying to look capable and reassuring. I don't think I succeeded. I saw one corner of his tight mouth twitch up for a second, and what might have been an attempt at a smile. On second thought, it was probably an involuntary grimace of pain. A Briton had no sense of humor. How could a people with no magic, with no life of spirit, ever really know laughter? I found the skin water flask in Red's pack and made my way deeper into the cave. Further down, it opened up wondrously. It was quite dark, but I caught the shadowy shapes of a great rock pillar reaching up, another stretching down to meet them. I sensed small creatures sleeping, high above me in the gloom, and I found fresh water dripping down to rest gently in stone-rimmed pools. I filled the flask and returned. I wished badly for Father Brian, or another of his skill that day. I did my best. At least it was possible to wash my hands and then clean the wound. The fresh flow of blood was good, oozing only, not rushing forth in deadly tide. It would help the ill humors to leave the body. I remembered the man I had slashed with Red's little dagger. He might have lost a lot of blood. I could have told them how to stem the flow, but I had not. Watching them close in on Red, I had forgotten I was a healer. So far, so good. My dumb show was proving ever more difficult. I tried to indicate to Red that there was something in his leg, something I would have to remove. I would have helped if he'd been a little less stoical, or if there had been some mead or ale, or a few well-chosen herbs for a sleeping draught. "I'm not sure what you're saying," he said. "You need to do something else to it. It's going to hurt. Well, get on with it then." I minded that he would have to stay very still, for I had only the sharp point of the tiny knife with which to dislodge the metal object. He nodded grimly. I wondered why he hadn't told me to stop messing about and leave him alone. He had no reason to trust me. It took a while. I learned another oath in the British tongue. Apart from that, he kept quiet, although I heard his breathing change and his face grew clammy with sweat. My hands were not as deft as they had been, but all the same it had been some time since I had spun or woven starwort, for I had neglected the task in my misery, and the swelling in my fingers had begun to go down. Just as well. It was a tricky job. The small sliver, where dagger or sword had chipped against bone was deeply lodged, and I had both hands covered in blood above the wrist before I got it out. I cleaned the wound again with fresh water, and dried it as well as I could. There was no chamomile, no sweet lavender, nor poultice of juniper berries. There were no skilled hands or fine thread with which to sew up the wound. I took a few deep breaths, and then I got out a bone needle, the smallest I had, the one I used to bind the necks of the shirts when I had finished them. And in my pack there was one good spool of thread. A thread not made from the starwort plant, but soft and strong, which one of my brothers had thieved for me that midsummer night. I clenched my teeth and set to work, with an ear to his breathing. He was keeping it slow and steady, but with some effort. I did not hurry the job. It was done as neatly and thoroughly as I could manage. He'd have a scar, but the leg would mend. I finished and bit off the thread, and felt his large hand encircling mine. Is this an old or recent book? It's pretty old. I guess it depends on how, what is old to you. 1999. So not super old, but not new either. So there's actually a lot of books in the Seven Water series, which is where she's from. Yeah. So they're not all following the same characters though, so technically you could read any of them and it won't really ruin anything. But this is the first of them. The next book follows one of her daughters. And the third one, yeah, somebody else in the family. I got an eyelash in my eye. Very cool. It's always fun. No castle tonight. Mondays and Wednesdays are usually me unless I'm working, so gives him more time to work. Roasted by the lady of the tavern because goblins can't multitask. Yup. I'm old by Gen Alpha standards, yeah. Follows a goblin. Haven't read fiction for years. Last were Animal Farm in 1984, which are less fantastical and more observation on society. Yay, work, yeah, it's super fun. I mean, that is to say, we actually do enjoy our work, so. 1999, got married that year, and at the end of that year, my eldest son was born. Aww. Working provides the meals, though. Yes, it does. Well, and creates videos for the Tavern, so. He does the scripts and records them, and I edit the videos. It works. And I also do all the visual stuff. Can you hear my child? Had my wife read them recently, as she is into ebooks since a while. She loved them. They're very good. Yeah, they're very good books. I think those two are definitely worth reading. I think Animal Farm can be a little difficult for people to figure out nowadays if they don't understand that it's meant to be a reflection of society. But I apologize for the goblin infestation. It's alright. We already have one. Teamwork, that's right. Did not like the ending of Animal Farm. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't meant to be feel good at all. I've learned a bit from you guys. Me and Cassie were just mentioning you too. Yeah? That's good. I'm glad. But yeah, okay. I don't like the new covers for Daughter of the Forest. It's kind of boring. I don't know why they changed it. The illustrations on the originals were really good. The artist did a good job. Alright, I should have Castle's book by Thursday. Oh, cool. That'll be fun. We need to get something else finished. He's got so many different books in the works. It's just... and we keep editing, especially when he talks to me about it, because... I don't really... When it comes to writing, I can't think in, like, short and simple. Everything becomes a long epic, so... Animal Farm would offend Gen Alpha. Probably. Probably. Originals are always better, usually. Sometimes when a book does really well, they might do a new edition and hire a good artist to do something better with the covers, but in this case, it's the opposite. Hey, the Labyrinth made me look good. David Bowie Mahjong. I love Labyrinth. It's so good. I have a really nice book that came out on one of their anniversaries, and it's just like huge and goes over the production of the movie. It's fantastic. Do you have a favorite book so far? That is difficult. That is very difficult. I could maybe pick favorites for different genres. But I can tell you my favorite author is Jacqueline Carey. I find her way of writing to be very interesting, and I appreciate all of the research that she clearly has done in mythos and histories all around the world to kind of influence the story flow of her books. She kind of does this alternate history fiction, and they're very involved. There's drama, there's a lot of politics, it's adventure, everything's in there. So I like it. It's kind of heavy for some people, but I enjoy them. My son, Jiraiya, love you guys. We hunt down what? Oh, you hunt down books based on what he loves from us? I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Cassie just asked me to prod you. Tell me more of what you do for the tavern. Oh, well, I am the artist. So I'm obviously not making art for all these videos because I don't have time for that. It takes a long time to do the artwork. So what you see behind me right now is like some of it's AI generated, some of it's photo bashing. I kind of just like use some Photoshop skills there to put something together so you had something to look at instead of just me. Yes, I am an artist for a living. For my side job, I actually am the assistant for a pretty prominent artist out here in LA. And I have a bachelor's degree for computer animation because I do 3D modeling. So I actually focused more on character modeling. I thought I would be getting into the animation part of it because since forever ago, like when Bug's Life came out, I thought, you know what, that's what I want to do. As a kid, I was like, that's what I want. I want to work on movies like that. So I do commissions. You've been a 3D artist for 15 years? Wow, that's cool. Yeah. What kind of stuff do you do? I'm working on a 3D space for the tavern. I'm going to do my best with some VFX skills to use some of his recordings and put it into the tavern 3D space. And After Effects, we'll see how it goes. I haven't done that in a long time, and when I did, I used Nuke, which is a pretty in-depth application that there's a steep learning curve to that, but it works really well. It's like industry standard, but I don't have Nuke anymore, and it's expensive. If I can do it with After Effects, I'll do it with After Effects. I use AI for my character concepts. Like sometimes I like to use it for like generating some ideas to use as reference, but most of the time, no. Multi-talented, I hope so. Yeah, sort of retired now, but used to be game dev. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a really good friend that does iRacing, and he actually got into he wins a lot of them too. He's good, but he also built like a 3D garage space for his car. So commissions are going to depend on what it is. I only do it through word of mouth. I'll do like logos and graphic design and web design for people that I know, but I don't really like doing that work anymore. That's just what I did a long time ago to make some extra cash. He is very talented. Unfortunately, he has, I don't know if I can say desire, but he doesn't use it for a career. He just likes to learn different things, and then after he's learned it, he moves on. Yes, the goblin has a story to tell. I'm just bad at organizing stories. Oh, that can be difficult for a lot of people. But yeah, he's talented. I would like to get him to work on stuff with me, but he deals with some health problems too, so he can't always stick with it. I think in the future, 3D artists won't be needed anymore. Software already is almost there right now. I wouldn't say that. I mean, to a degree. At the very least, technical designers will always be needed. I don't think they'll be completely obsolete, though, in my opinion. But we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, I thought I would be working on animated movies, but Everett was like 3 when I decided to go back to college to do that. And then he ended up needing to be homeschooled because he was too much for teachers to handle. And I decided not to apply for any large studios so I could stay home a lot of the time and do his school stuff with him and be a mom. instead of being gone all the time and paying somebody else to do it. Yeah, we sent her on a castle type rant. It happens. It happens. And it's okay. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about that stuff forever. I think it depends. I mean, when it comes to creativity, I think you're still gonna need 3D artists for that. Yeah, I like some of the isekai stuff. We watch anime just because a lot of the new stuff that comes out in movies or shows, like, it's just, they're not that good. And at least sometimes an anime might be. You set aside nursing to homeschool. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, for sure. I do have them with a school that does have teachers and an online curriculum. Like, I didn't have to make the curriculum. But now that he's in high school, I'm considering making it. Because he's kind of lazy. Which I think is kind of normal for teenagers, right? But I think he needs something that makes him use his brain more. Because he's gotten used to just kind of like skating through things, and I'd like him at least to be more learned with classic literature, and they don't really cover enough classic literature, in my opinion. In my opinion. There's a lot of good stuff that he's missing out on. Yeah, artists will be around, especially for post-production. Because aside from getting the 3D spaces built, like, you have to make it look good after it's rendered. And yeah, I considered my responsibilities as a mom to be very important, so it's okay. I think it would have been nice to work at a studio that I liked then, but now I don't think I would want to. I don't see the industry in gaming or movies like really going in a good direction, and that would have frustrated me. So I'd actually like to just be an art director for our own stuff here in the tavern. But Mom, we know everything is teenagers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Frostbeard, you're feeling under the weather? What happened? Everybody's getting sick, huh? You gotta check on something? Okay, go ahead, John. We will be here for a bit, because we are not done with this chapter yet. Speaking of children, I'm gonna go tell them to quiet down again. Alrighty. I have an isekai idea. I want to kind of dodge the Chosen One complex. Just give OP power. Well, every hero should have a growth arc and a story, in my opinion, unless they're a secondary character. But when you're following a protagonist, the whole point is kind of to follow their journey. I mean, I guess if they're already gone through their hero journey, then it has to be something of similar. Like, maybe they're older and they're struggling with what it's like to age and become maybe not as capable as they once were. I don't know. Guess it just depends. Yeah, I have checked out Time for Learning. They actually use the same like videos in their lessons as they do with the school that my son is with. It's homeschooling, but not full homeschooling, because it's a school registered with California. It's just online. So, but yeah, they use the same stuff. I liked IXL a lot as well, especially when he was younger. But I think now he really needs to be working with textbooks and writing with his hands and not typing. Copying, pasting stuff, I don't want him to actually put more thought into it. Oh, you got fever? Oh, you didn't get a fever. Okay, good. But yeah, feel better. Take care of yourself. Drink some tea. Get lots of rest. But yeah, I've looked up some stuff. We'll see. I'm gonna have a meeting with his teachers and talk about it. So maybe next year they don't have a good alternative for me that utilizes some actual textbooks, then I'll have to do the full homeschooling option. You had 7 cups of tea yesterday? Felt like I was floating. Gotta make sure you have some good herbs in there. Alright, we'll get back to reading. Went off on quite the tangent. Tell me, he said levelly, why does a girl of good breeding, with skin as white as new milk, have hands like a fishwife's? Who has inflicted such punishment on you? Your crime must have been heinous indeed. That was it for my strength, I'm afraid. All at once, hunger and shock and exhaustion got the better of me, and I sank down to the ground as far away from him as I could get, and put my poor hands over my face as bitter, silent tears coursed down my cheeks. I wasn't angry at him or at the men who had attacked us, or at anyone in particular. I was wet and miserable and tired, and I wanted my brothers, and I wanted my little garden and my dog, and to be able to tell tales and laugh again. I wept in self-pity, and because I knew you could never go back. You chose your path, and that was it. I wept for Father Brian and for Lynn, and for what my brothers might have been, and for my own lost innocence. I wept because I had ugly hands. After all, I was but 14 years old. I'm sorry, he said awkwardly. It didn't help much. I found that now I had started to cry, I couldn't stop. Much like it was for a small child whose woe often outlasts the injury, as if the weeping itself engenders more tears. I wept until my head ached and I saw stars before my eyes, and finally I lay down on the hard rock and went to sleep, still sniffing. After that he must have forced himself to move, to lay a cloak over me and a folded shirt under my head, for that was how it was when I woke, much later. It was dark everywhere, nighttime outside. For a moment I was quite disoriented, groping around me in a panic. I forced myself to sit still, to breathe slowly, and after a while, pale moonlight was apparent, thin fingers of it creeping through the foliage at the cave mouth, and by its dim light I could see the Briton laying asleep against the far wall, his face white, his eyelids heavy with the slumber of complete exhaustion. His bandage looked clean enough, what I could see of it. No new bleeding, and that was good. A mythical Una tangent, yeah. Mine's in a group at a library. Oh, that's good. Yeah, maybe I should look into that. I haven't been able to find anything. And every time I've tried to get, other students going to the school to get together, nobody shows up. They really just want to stay at home. I sat there for a while as the light brightened, and small sounds made their way into my consciousness little by little. An owl hooting near at hand. Far above me there must be another entrance to the cavern, for I sensed rather than heard a myriad tiny creatures moving in and out. A creaking, rustling sound, and behind this a more distant, pervasive roaring, a great, hushed, endless movement. The sea. The sea that was so wide it had no margins. The sea that stretched westward to the isles of ancient lore. The sea that made a shining moonlit pathway to the east, to the home of the Britons. I need not gaze out from the cave mouth. Its vast wildness was imprinted on my mind, and I feared it even as it captured my spirit. Did not we once cast our own transgressors out beyond the ninth wave, to perish or be washed up on some inhospitable shore, as the gods willed? And had not this stranger, who lay sleeping at my feet, come not just from beyond the ninth wave, but from many times beyond?
Did you need something, my darling?
No, I'm good.
Everyone behaving?
As far as I know. Hello, Gunnar. I am doing good. Hope you are also doing well. Thank you, John, for more stars. I'm doing it when I'm not looking up. The 3 greatest things in the tavern: the legendary castle rants, the mythical Una tangents, and the sacred Maddie chats. You're funny. What puppy? Around the corner, coaxing me to follow. I disappeared. What happened? Maybe we lost connection for a minute. Is it still bad? What happened? Is it back? Okay, hi. Sorry. Back now. Okay, good. Is it working everywhere? Thank you, Fire Deck, for the little teeny deeny. They're so cute. I love them. I'm back. Okay, good. Is it back? The internet's being weird everywhere? Okay. Lost it for a bit, but it's back. We're good, yes? Looks like we're okay. I hope. Facebook and YouTube have dropped out. Both of them still. Let me try refreshing. My eyes. Yeah, I'm so bright, I'm blinding you. You're back. Back on Twitch. I'm gonna check Facebook. I'm a refugee. YouTube is back. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Ugh. Stuff is definitely being all slow and icky. On Facebook. I think Facebook. No, it's not. I cut out Facebook, huh? I don't have a way of just making sure it comes back on the one. Is it live right now? Dang it. Alright. I'm gonna just give up on that. I'm sorry. Hopefully they find their way in elsewhere. Yeah, I see the recorded one, Milu. I don't see it coming back on the stream, though. But yeah, you can go check. Thank you. No Facebook? Yeah, I didn't think so. It doesn't look like it reconnected on there. So, hopefully they just find us on another platform. I know, you were monitoring the chat for me so nicely. Yeah. It happens. The internet's been kind of weird. Stream Elements is like, she's streaming again. Network error on your phone as well? Yeah, maybe it's just happening all over. Weird. Definitely weird. Okay. Is what it is, I suppose. Hello, Mother Cos and Daniel. Yes, we are reading Daughter of the Forest. Yeah, I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it'd be a large network area. Yeah, it's everywhere. Like, nope, no more internet for anybody. Okay. Alright, she ate the apple. She hears voices. I was compelled to walk after them, hands outstretched to touch the rock walls, bare feet light on the hard cave floor. Down and down and down, where the air was cool and damp, and the weight of the earth hung heavy above me. Down where the tree roots hung suspended above the vault, where crystal clear water trickled and dripped and pooled in darkness under the pillars of stone. The lights beckoned, torches, lanterns, always just around the next corner. I stumbled and thought I heard laughter. And music, the faint humming of a harp, the lilt of a fiddle, and a whistle weaving a garland of notes around an old tune. Even so far to the east, even on the farthest shore, then the fair folk had their dwellings. For I did not doubt that this place, where we had come by chance, was one of those doorways, told of in many old tales, one of those portals between our world and theirs. In such a place where they found, often enough, a cave or a crevice, an opening in the earth, where the two realms might touch for a brief moment, when the time was right. I came at length to a chamber, vaster and more grand than any before, where the pillars of living stone reached from smooth floor to arching roof, their stately forms reflected in a long, still pool. There they were, and their laughter and song ceased abruptly as I came forward into the light of their torches. Many eyes were on me. I saw one face I knew, palely beautiful, with dark, intense eyes and hair like rippling black silk. She nodded gravely. But around her were many more of her kind, all of them tall beyond mortal span, and clothed in shimmering fabric, and garments of gauze like butterflies' wings, or black and glossy as the plumage of a raven. Their heads were crowned with strange adornments, of feathers and shells and seaweed, of nuts and berries and leaves. Their eyes were strange, deep, knowing, searching. Their faces were both wonderful and terrible. They watched me in silence. Then the circle of torches closed in slightly, and the tallest of the men stepped forward. I mean, Facebook has just been wonky. It wasn't posting videos, and Castle tried to put one up several times, and then all of a sudden all of them showed up, so you had to delete them. Yeah, Facebook is just wonky. Well, well, he said, looking me up and down. You're here at last, I see. Step forward and show yourself. I stared up at him, a long way up. His face was very bright, brighter than the torches might make it. Some light from within seemed to turn his skin to gold and silver. His hair stood back from his face as if he were crowned with flames, and it was a brilliant red, except where frost touched at the temples and on his full beard. His eyes were no color and every color. He wore a plain white robe, but where the light caught it, the cloth sparkled as if with many tiny gems. "My lord," I greeted him silently. I turned to the lady of the forest who stood by his side. "My lady, what do you mean here at last?" He laughed, throwing his head back, letting the sound reverberate around the great rock chamber. There was a buzz of voices, which died down instantly as he became silent again. The lady did not laugh, but watched me gravely. "You didn't imagine you were here by accident, did you?" queried the bright one. "You did. I forget how little your kind can understand, how limited your grasp. Your time in the world is brief, your knowledge matches it." "I did not come here to be insulted. I found my temper was short. They had been precious little help to me so far, apart from the rainstorm, which I had to admit had been pretty good. But fair folk or no, I would not let them bully me. What do you want of me?" "Of you nothing, child of the forest." It was she who spoke now, the lady, and her voice at least bore a trace of warmth. "Nothing beyond what you must do. Show me your hands, Sorsha." I held them out, blinking as a lantern was moved closer to me. My hands were inspected. "These hands bear no traces of recent work," frowned he with the head of flames. "How will your brothers live if you neglect your task? How will these shirts be made without spindle or loom?" Yeah, it's all right. We'll just have to skip out on Facebook. I glared up at him. "That's not fair." And they all laughed again, lords and ladies, their musical voices filling my ears with sweet disdain. "Fair!" gasped the bright one amid his mirth. "Fair, she says. What a child it is, to be sure. Are you certain, my lady, that this is the right girl? For it seems to me she is a fool and lazy with it." He moved right up to me and, taking my chin in his hand, tipped my head back to scrutinize me more closely. His eyes were very bright, shifting and changing. It was hard to look into them and not be dazzled. "You have no need to ask me that," said the lady of the forest. "You know well enough that this is she. She spits back at your mirth. She holds her head high after everything. There is no cause to doubt her strength. She neglects her work. Time runs short," he said, and he was holding my hands now, turning them this way and that. "Is this vanity, I wonder? Do you weep that your hands will never again be soft and white?" "Let her go." My head snapped around. The lord and the lady and their companions all turned their strange, luminous eyes to the cave entrance through which I had come. The flickering light on their torches showed Red swaying there, his face as pale as chalk, one hand resting on the rock wall for balance. His expression was ferocious. "I said let her go." The bright one's hands dropped away from mine, and he smiled a small, dangerous smile that was totally lost on the Briton. "Touch her again and you'll answer to me in blood," said Red very quietly, and he limped forward to stand at my side. There was a brief silence, and then the attending folk put their hands together in a slow, derisive clapping. Red started to raise his arm, but I put out a hand and stopped him. Clearly he had not the faintest idea who or what he was dealing with. The bright one folded his arms and regarded us with a half-smile. Whether he spoke in the Briton's tongue or some other I cannot remember, save that we all understood him. "The Lord Hugh of Harrowfield, I believe that is your name. They say still waters run deep. You bear a weight of anger beneath that mask of control, young man. You are far from home, too far some might say. What brings you across the sea and into the forest, and alone in the dark among strangers?" Red looked him in the eye. He was using my shoulder for balance now. It seemed the leg would not take his weight much longer. "I am not answerable to you," he said. "None the less you will answer," replied the Bright One, and I saw a flash of brilliance like a tiny lightning bolt flare from his eyes and toward the Briton. Red sucked his breath in. Whatever it was, it had hurt him. Just a rude place to be, yeah. "You will answer." The Briton stood silent. He moved me slightly behind him. I saw the Bright One's face tighten, and his eyes take on a reddish tinge. He was eager for a battle of wills, but I knew there could be but one outcome. You did not play games with the fair folk and expect to come away unscathed. Leave him alone. I sent my message to him of the flaming crown, but also to the lady. He does not know how to play this game. Let him go. "Tell me, Lord Hugh," it was the lady who spoke now, "why do you take our girl with you, when you know all she wants is to go home? She does not belong in your world." This stung him into response. "The girl is not yours, or mine, or anyone's, but for now she travels under my protection, and let him who lays a hand on her answer to me." "Fine words," said the lady. "But you have lost sword and dagger. Your leg is laid open to the bone. You are hungry and lacking sleep, and in hostile territory. Your threats can surely have little substance." "I have my 2 arms and my will," said Red, stepping around so that he shielded me from the 2 of them. "That's enough. Let him who dares try me." His back was solid enough. Even on tiptoe, I had trouble seeing over his shoulder. Excuse me. Good night, Ashley. Yeah, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then Monday and Wednesday if I'm not here. Is my camera being weird too? Oh yeah. Just can't win. Alright. "Step aside," said the Bright One wearily. "Let the girl show herself. We mean no harm to her. She is one of our own." And the moment of crisis seemed to be over. "You chose well, daughter of the forest," remarked the lady, looking at Red and then at me. "What do you mean, I chose well? I chose. I did not choose any of this. Would I be here if there had been a choice?" "Hush, child. There is always a choice. You knew that when you first set foot on this path." "You have not answered truly, Lord Hugh of Harrowfield," said the Bright One. "You have not answered at all. Why do you take the girl away from her forest? Why does she go across the sea? What is it that you want from her?" "Tell the truth," said the lady, and there was a warning in her voice. "I am not beholden to you, whoever you are," said Red. "I will give you no answers. You are a fool." The Bright One threw up his hands in a pantomime of exasperation. "I thought you wanted to know what happened to your brother. I really did. But keep silent you will if you cannot ask the right questions. You can expect no sensible replies." The effect of this speech on the Briton was electrifying. He started forward, forgetting his damaged leg, stumbled and half fell. Then he forced himself back upright, his face dewed with sweat. Something new had awoken in his pale, cold eyes. "My brother," he gasped. "You know about my brother. Tell me." Not so fast," said the Bright One slyly. "No information comes free, not down here. Besides, it's she who can tell you, not I." He flicked a long finger in my direction. "That's why you want her, isn't it? Not because she is alone and helpless and needs protection, but for the information she can give you. And give it she can. She saw him, she talked with him, and he gave her the thing you guard so jealously in your pocket there. Ask her. She'll tell you and all you want to know about your precious brother. Aye, and some you don't want to know besides. The girl cannot talk, said Red, and I could tell he was fighting to keep his voice under control. Or will not. You say she spoke with my brother. She does not speak now. What a twist, yeah. Oh, she speaks well enough, said the Lord lightly. We hear her. She asks us to stop tormenting you. She says you're too stupid to be dangerous. But I can hear nothing, said Red. She is silent. She is always silent. The lady looked at him. That is because you have not learned how to listen, she said. But she will speak to you one day. Are you good at waiting? Red looked wildly from one to the other. Just tell me, he said. Does my brother still live? Will I find him? But the torches were starting to fade, and the bright folk with them, and the traces of laughter and rustling silk, and the faint notes of the harp seemed to dissipate upward into the cool dampness of the cave, fragile as the perfume of an autumn flower. The lady stood before me, when all others had gone. Take this to light your way, daughter of the forest, she said. You told me you were tired of being strong. Maybe you will not need to be so strong now. She placed a tiny candle, herb-scented, in my open palm. She turned to the Briton. You hurt her with your unthinking words, she said, and her eyes had lost any warmth they had once had. Make sure she is not hurt again. And before he could draw breath, she turned and was gone. We made our way up to the surface in complete silence, our hands touching so as not to lose one another in the profound darkness, relieved only by the dimly flickering candlelight. I held the tiny light in the palm of my hand. It smelled of rosemary, of meadowsweet and caraway. Like the sharing of an apple, it too was full of hidden meanings. I wondered, not for the first time, just what game the fair folk were playing. Up in the outer cave it was freezing cold, for a sharp breeze was blowing in from the east. Our clothes were still damp from the rain, and the cloak was not much better. It would be an uncomfortable night, not that sleep seemed possible anyway. My mind was turning things over and over, and would not let me rest. I lay down on my side of the cave and closed my eyes, but I could not stop shivering. And I thought, his brother. I should have seen it. His brother. No wonder he pursues this quest so single-mindedly. And then I thought Lord Hugh. Lord Hugh of somewhere. How did they know his name? He certainly didn't seem like a lord of anywhere, with his cropped hair and his well-worn clothes, and the way his friends spoke to him as if to an equal. On the other hand, though, I considered how my father had warned his men to make sure Simon remained alive that night. He had been a prisoner of some consequence. A person of future value as a bargaining tool, maybe. So perhaps his brother really was Lord Hugh of somewhere or other. I thought red suited him better. But the lady, it was cold. I wished dawn would come, but my mind shrank from the problems of the next day. I rolled over, trying to make myself comfortable. You're shivering, said the Briton from the other side of the cave. Best come over and lie by me. A cloak will cover us both. But I shook my head, drawing the wet cloak about me tighter. After what had been done to me, I did not think I would ever be able to lie by a man, not even to sleep, not even with somebody I trusted. And I did not trust him, with his cold eyes and his silences. Yeah, it's an interesting point of view because obviously in this point of the story she can't speak. So you have it from her perspective, so you don't necessarily know what the other characters are thinking, but they try to interact with her regardless of being able to actually have a conversation. So it is interesting. You need not be afraid of me, he said. It would be a lot warmer. But I shrank in on myself, wrapped my arms around my chest, drew up my knees to my stomach, made myself small under the cloak. I stared at the candle. It still burned, tiny and golden, in the space between us. There was silence for a while. Suit yourself, said Red. He lay on his back, staring up at the vaulted roof of the cave, and the candlelight flickered on his high-bridged nose, and his set jaw, and his grim, tight mouth. I drifted in and out of fitful sleep, with snatches of half-seen nightmares, with fragments of painful memory and visions of an unimaginable future. And every time I woke, I looked across to see him lying stretched out with his head on his pack, and his face white in the moonlight, and his eyes wide open. But once, waking, I found him sitting up motionless and staring toward the cave mouth. When I looked, there on a dark branch that stretched across the opening perched a perfect white owl, preening her feathers fastidiously with a delicate beak, regarding us from time to time with her shining ancient eyes. I held my breath, watching her, and when at length she spread her great wings and rose to flight, I sensed an end to things, a moving on and parting that would not be halted by any burning of magical herbs, by any intervention of human or spirit world. It was as inevitable as death, and I put my hands over my mouth to keep silent. "What is it?" said Red in a whisper. "What is this fire in the head that will not let me rest?" I glanced across at him, but it was not to me that he was speaking. Toward dawn, we both fell into an exhausted sleep. It was as well that when the first rays of sunlight began to spread across the sky, it was one of his own that found us and not Seamus's men.
Yes.
I came to at the start and was getting shakily to my feet, and so was he, but more slowly because of his leg. We had both been woken by a rustling in the bushes outside. There was scarcely time for thought, when we heard the call of a sea-bird very close by, and Red amazed me by cupping his hands to his mouth and echoing the same call. It was a signal, and a minute later a figure with flaxen hair, with stained traveling clothes and well-worn boots, appeared in the cave mouth, parting the greenery to step rather breathlessly inside. "Landlord called me for dinner." What? It's funny. "I shall take my leave, remember." "All right, Goblin's order. You shall be remembered." "The goblins of the tavern shall write your name in the annals of whatever they held." They're kind of chaotic, so they might not have any books at all. Have a good night. Gotta tell the child to be quiet again. I swear. My darling. Yes. You're very loud. No, you're not going mad. Alright. We're all mad here, yes, it's true. Very, very much Wonderland. A steep climb, said Ben, for it was the Briton's companion bending now to catch his breath, hands on knees, and after him the other man, John. He looked at me, then at Red, his expression quizzical. You've still got her, then, he observed. Red frowned. I told you to go on without me, he said. What of Redbeard and his men? Were you not pursued? Ben grinned. We were, but we're quick and quiet, and we had a few tricks up our sleeve. There was a small problem in the cove, but nothing we couldn't handle. I told you to go on without us, repeated Red. It sounded as if he didn't like being disobeyed. Myself, I had never been so pleased to see anyone as I was those two. At least now there was some chance of getting him down the cliff in one piece, even with that leg. That's funny. Got another ad, huh? Snoozed it. Okay. We stood offshore overnight, said John, sounding not the least apologetic. Rough enough to turn your guts inside out, it was, said Ben picturesquely. So here we are. You may want to kill yourself being a hero, but don't expect us to help you. The boat's waiting under the rocks down below, said John. I'd say we've enough time before full dawn. With luck we'll be away before they're stirring. But we need to move now and quickly. Lucky we found you so soon. Thank you for subscribing, Nomad. Welcome. Over on YouTube. Okay. Red said nothing but fumbled for his pack and limped forward. Wonderful, said Ben, looking at the makeshift bandage and at Red's face. Just how did you expect to get away without us? You wouldn't have made it halfway down this track. It's steep as a church roof and crumbling away. We'd have managed, said Red. His companions looked at me and at each other, but no more was said. As we left the cave, I looked around for the remains of the candle, for its herbal scent still hung lightly on the morning air. But I was too late. It was Red who bent awkwardly to lift the small remnant of beeswax from the rock, to hold it in his hand a moment before slipping it into a pocket. Nonsense, of course, he said to himself. The others were at the cave entrance, Ben keeping a lookout, John clearing away branches to make a safer path. Nothing but dreams, and yet, such dreams. A man could lose his mind in this accursed country. And then he turned and went out, and I followed him, since that seemed to be the only thing to do. Okay, that's all of Chapter 7. We made it! They are quite long. As I said, it's been 2.5 hours, with a little bit of chatting in between, for one chapter. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we have hit the end, friends. I do have some video editing I need to do. So you guys have a video to watch tomorrow. But I'm glad you all came in to hang out for a while. It was fun. If I'm dying of laughter right now because of the phone food in your freezer or fridge. Yes, I'm glad you're able to come in too, Gunnar. And thank you, Frostbeard. Appreciate you guys being in here. It's always a good time. Wednesday, if the kids are still not feeling well, then I'll read again. Otherwise, we'll probably be doing some more Baldur's Gate. So, which can be funny as I try to do things and ruin things. I'm not great at it. Kind of exasperate them. You are very welcome, old bear, and thank you. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I saw. And you're welcome, Matt. Thank you. It's always nice to have you guys around. But I will tell Castle goodnight for you all. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I probably won't be here because I am working. But Castle will be here reading. So until next time, you guys, have a good night or day, depending on where you are. And we'll see you again soon. Good night. Good night. Yay, yeah. No. You'll need an exorcist to get rid of me. Oh no. Yeah. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Have a good night, Denise. You've only just met me. I'll be back again. You can watch the old videos if you want to hear more of this book. Because it is good. I enjoy it. Technically, I picked the book. I didn't let you guys do it. I guess we could sing a song if you want to sing a song. Good night, old bear. I don't know if I'll be able to sing it very well right now. As you can tell, my voice is kind of weird, but I could try. Good night. Let's sing a song? Okay. Thank you. What should we sing? Should we sing something different? Or should we pick one of the staples? Usually I kind of just accompany Castle. But I could sing something. Soldier, Poet, King, I could. Have to bring up the lyrics, but yeah, I could probably do that. Let's see. I don't remember if I talked to you guys about this or not, but I was looking into getting the bigger mandolin or a bouzouki. But it's gonna be a while before I can get one of those because they're expensive. But I thought it'd be nice to have something like that so I could have some music accompanying the songs one day. But yeah, they're like, to get a decent one, you're looking at like at least $800, which is nutty. My biggest request is singing Soldier, Poet, King. Alright. Yeah, they are expensive. The mandolins aren't super expensive. I can probably get like a decent mandolin. They're small though. Like they're meant for actually playing the songs, not as an accompaniment to singing, if that makes sense. Because like you want something bigger that can carry the like when you pluck the string, like it lasts longer. Whereas like a mandolin is something like, akin to like a ukulele, right? It's just very like short plucks. So it's different. They have different purposes. Alright, Soldier, Poet, King, that's the only one we got here? Alright. I'll probably stand up and sing it because I might do a better job that way. There's a song I love that you would have to look into. It's called All Around My Hat by Steel Eye Span. I will make a note of that. Nope. Spelled that wrong. By Steel Eye Span. Okay. I will check it out. Alright, I'm gonna stand up to sing. Yeah, I don't think I've heard that one all around my hat. Alright, I know you're not gonna see me on screen, but I'm here. There will come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down. Ole, ole, o Lord. Ole, 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 o Lord. He will tear your city down. Ole, ole, o Lord. There will come a poet whose weapon is his word. He will slay you with his tongue. Ole, ole, o Lord. Ole, 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 o Lord. He will slay you with his tongue. Ole, ole, o Lord. There will come a ruler whose brow is laid in thorn, smeared with oil like David's boy. Ole, ole, o Lord. Ole, 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 o Lord. Smeared with oil like David's boy. Ole, ole, o Lord. Ole, 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 o Lord. Yeah, it's kind of a short one, huh? Maddie Pryor, yes, it is nice. A song, I shall get comfortable, yeah, well. I don't know how great it is, but my dog is dancing to your voice, that's funny. That'd be cute. Oh, it's this song, fantastic choice. Yes, Maddie chose that one. Let me see. Johnny Lever keeps playing. Yeah, Johnny Lever is always good. I don't have a very piratey voice, but I like that song. I liked playing, gosh, like a really long time ago, but I liked playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag because that's when they integrated all those shanties when you were driving your ships. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. I'll hear a song and like it'll get stuck in my head all day, but there's just some stuff that stick with you. Yeah, Rogue too. Rogue was really good. I was surprised. I liked that one a lot too. I can't remember if I finished that one though. I feel like I was working a lot, so I probably didn't finish it, but it was good. Blacksmith. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of songs that I've probably heard, but I don't actually know their names. I love all the AC games. But that's, yeah, I loved the integration of historical figures and events. I kind of stopped after Unity. It was London, I think, right? Syndicate. It looked interesting, but I didn't get around to playing it, obviously, because I didn't finish Rogue. And then after that, I was like, what did you guys do? I don't know, it doesn't feel the same anymore. They've lost, like, the soul of it. It kind of just feels like a shell of a game. Kind of like those games that they put out every year, like Call of Duty, like it's almost the same thing over and over. Or to hear Cassandra call everyone a Malacca. So, oh, is that from Odyssey? Yeah, because you like all the Greek and Roman lore, so that makes sense. It wasn't as good as it looked. That's unfortunate. I mean, I think it's because that was the first time they tried to introduce the having a male and a female lead. And then they kind of just like stuck with that where you could choose to be the male or female. And I feel like that took away from there just being a main character that you got attached to. Because like, obviously we got really attached to Desmond and how he was kind of going through what his ancestors did. And then even after he died, they had a good way of handling it in Black Flag because they presented you as just somebody going to Abstergo to like kind of get in touch with your ancestors, kind of like it was like a entertainment thing, but you as the player, having played previous games, knew that Abstergo had an ulterior motive and using these people's ancestors' memories to find what they wanted. So it was kind of a cool concept to me, but they lost that. So it's really unfortunate. That and the Industrial Revolution was weird to then go all the way back. Yeah. It was definitely unfortunate. So, I don't know. At this point, I would probably just replay the old games instead of trying to pick up one of the newer ones. We were kind of excited for the Valhalla one because I thought it would be cool to see what lore is integrated with that. But I don't even really like how they handled that. So, it is what it is. It happens to them all. Oh yeah, 100%. I would replay Black Flag. Yeah, it was fun. It was good. Like, I think probably playing the first couple games would feel a little clunky, but the story is just so good, it's worth it. But yeah, I like those. I think they were trying to keep us with the God of War games at that point with Valhalla. Yeah. But it's not good to put out a game like that and then it not really be able to compare to God of War if that's the vibe that they were going to go with, you know? I don't know. Like, and they made the weapons, like the alien weapons, and then it just, why? Don't do that. It's just ruined. In my opinion. I didn't like that, but it doesn't mean that everyone has to agree with me. So, they should have kept to what they did good instead of bringing in Norse stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them bringing in the Norse stuff, except it would have been better if they had stuck with the historical points, like the other ones did. Which I know is hard, because obviously there are other powers that be that quite effectively erased a lot of that history, so maybe they just didn't feel they had enough oomph with it. And an ad is coming on Twitch, by the way, just heads up. Yeah, it was a bad execution. I agree with that. Love when this place comes together, place to hear words, share feelings, and know your thoughts. Keeps up the great work. Didn't say good because that's beneath you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Finn Daniel. I honestly prefer Borderlands 3 over AC. No, stop it. Blasphemer. No, but Borderlands 3 was also disappointing. So I love 2. I could play 2 and maybe even the pre-sequel like over and over. It's funny. I like it. If I'm gonna play a shooter game, I'm gonna go play that instead of anything else. Yeah, mythical figures are fine, but yeah, the way it was integrated, I didn't like. I feel like it just veered away from how Assassin's Creed had been up until that point. I have no idea how he came by them, as he's not home to ask, but number one son acquired some Assassin's Creed Brotherhood drink coasters. Oh, that's cool. I have a couple of the statues because I used to get the collector's editions when they came out, so I put them in Everett's room. I think I have like a couple shot glasses and a flag and a shirt, like stuff like that came with it. The Borderlands 3's gameplay, but not its story. Yeah, Handsome Jack was a great villain. Absolutely great villain. I feel in love with the first one. For Borderlands, yeah. And the DLCs for that were super good. They were all worth playing, so. I am on board with that. I'm not gonna touch Borderlands 3 again. I prefer Shin Megami Tensei or Persona. Yeah, we still haven't finished it, but I was playing Persona with Everett. We're at the end of 5? I think it's 5. It's been a while. I don't remember. I don't think I'll play Shin Megami Tensei. That's the jobless reincarnation one, right? We watched like the first episode and I said, no, this guy is a pedophile. I'm not gonna support this anime. Forget it. Goodbye. Tyrene felt a bit weird paired with Choi, to be honest. Who is that? Was that an AC Odyssey? I didn't watch enough of it to know everything. I only played enough to be like, yeah, it's okay. If you view Borderlands games as a continuation instead of new installment, it makes it easier. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we played it, but it was not. Stick with morals, yeah. Like, there are games, like, obviously there's not a whole lot of morals in something like Borderlands, right? But at least it's not like an old dude perving on little girls. And those characters are, you're not playing as them. If there are, but I don't know of any. The main villain in Borderlands, yeah, that was a bad villain. The twins, it was so poorly done. Like, those characters were not interesting at all. They were just annoying. Like, Handsome Jack was witty and funny, and he had, like, a good story as to, like, how he ended up that way, too. Yeah, it is just weird. It's beyond weird. It was uncomfortable. So I dropped that. And we've had a lot of people try to get us to watch it, and I said, nope, not happening. I'm good. There's another, not an isekai one. But there's another one that I actually like, and it's been kind of hard for me because it's like on the verge of that. And I'm like, why did it have to be like that? Like, there is a reason in the story why these two characters are together, but she's like 14 or something, and he's 19? Yeah, but, like, I haven't done anything, but it's enough where I'm just like, why did she have to be so young? Why did we have to make that a part of the story? It's weird. Very weird. But when am I getting a playable Tina? Yeah, no, I don't think you need a playable Tina. I think she's really charming as an NPC, I think. The romanticizing of it is uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Tyrene would have worked better alone, in my opinion, but yeah, it just wasn't good. I'm sorry, it's not. Oh, it's not an online game that lets you make your own character and have your own demon. Oh, okay. Got it. That's better. That's definitely better. Yeah, I just figured there's plenty of other stuff to watch out there. So I don't need to subject myself to that. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands I thought was great. New breath into it. Yeah. It was okay. It was okay. I do like her DLC, like the D&D like DLC. Something on Dragon Keep. That was funny. I liked that. It was like putting a fantasy game spin on it. Cat, can you please stop clawing my couch? What do you want? What do you want? Huh? What do you want? What? Vicious dog. Yeah, they used Maya's death as something dramatic to make you go like, oh no, but it didn't really work out as planned, I don't think. Yeah, the D&D thing was fun. I was more invested in the Vault Hunters. I don't remember much of 3 because 3 didn't have anything memorable. Sorry. I mean, the only thing that was memorable was that, like, how annoying the villains were. So, yeah, it was a hit and miss. fuck do you want? What? What? Why are you bugging me? Hmm? Did you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come up here. Up. There you go. There you go. There, you can say hi. You can say hi. Yes. I know. Such a big baby. Now I'm a cat. It's my job. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he thinks. Little brat. I'd rather he not claw at my furniture, though. Can I help you? Who is Baha? TK Baha? Zane made it stick in my head. Yeah. I don't know. Play the other ones. Play 2. Just have that one be your go-to from now on. That would be the better option. I didn't play the first one. I watched it. I watched somebody else play, so I don't really remember a whole lot of it. But I don't know. I feel like 2's the only one you really need. Pre-sequel was pretty good too. The Warhound, he would not make a good Warhound. He's such a baby. Like, the smallest things will freak him out. Oh no. Sad. I mean, Borderlands is kind of one of those games where a lot of people get unalived, so it's to be expected. Yeah, see, I don't know why gameplay was your favorite. Like, the only thing I liked about 3 was that the level scaling was utilized better, and you had multiplayer and you guys were at different levels. But I don't know. It just didn't. It wasn't a good enough perk to make me want to play it again. But he was a good dude. Yeah, it is sad when good characters get killed off. 2 did later. The original did not. But I think 2, like a newer release of 2, maybe on computer release, they do. Well, I'm off and needed in Final Fantasy. Okay, have fun. Also a good game, but didn't play for very long because they want too much of my money. But have fun. Enjoy. But yeah, Tina's Wonderland wasn't that good in comparison to 2. I find it easier to manage compared to the others, in my opinion. I don't know. Pre-sequel made you nauseous? Why? Why? All the jumping? Yeah, I know. 'Tis a tongue-in-cheek comment? Oh, I see. Yeah. Could make him look like one, but you're definitely not one, huh? No. No. What's funny is when he tries to jump in my lap, because the dog is bigger than I am. You know? It's like, what do you think I'm going to be able to do? It's funny. It's a silly dog. Yeah, all the moon jumping. I got it. I don't know, it was fun though. I liked it. Did you ever play Mirror's Edge? That was by the people that did Mirror's Edge. I would figure like maybe something like that would probably make you feel like you did the okay, yeah, Mirror's Edge it was. Okay. Did that one make you nauseous? Yeah. Yeah, no, they had funny dialogue. I agree. they had sensible physics. That game was, I played it, but that was hard for me because there was a time when I didn't really like first person in video games because it just felt awkward to me. I have motion sickness, so the pre-sequel was rough. Really? But Mirror's Edge didn't? That's weird to me. But, alright. I guess you just never know. But yeah. Did we want another song before I skedaddle? You have to sing with me though. It's required. I don't understand why Cyberpunk is first person. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary, but I think I would have liked that it wasn't. Yeah, I'm not sure why they made that choice. And it was the first time they had done a game like that. So I kind of don't mind giving them a little more leeway. I just got used to it. Yeah. Like with, making it optional would have been nice. Like Red Dead, I love Red Dead. And you can choose which perspective you're in. Let's sing the anthem of the Galactic Empire. Da, 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 da. No, I'm not gonna do that. I am going back to the early 90s, but the original Doom gave me motion sickness. Yeah. Yeah. That is kind of old now, yeah. Yeah. First person is not my favorite. I like to, you know, especially if you're gonna make a character, I'd like to see the character and not have to like walk up to a mirror and then say I want to look at myself in the mirror for it to happen. Yeah, I thought it was surprising too. What do you want? You're just standing here staring at me, you weirdo. I'm evil in Red Dead? Oh no, don't do that. I don't like being in Tumbleweed, but that's because I don't like the desert. So I stay away from there. I like the grizzlies and tall trees. I got on a bike and realized I didn't have pants. That's funny. Hey, what's up, Jaeger? Oh, I stink now. You need a bath, dog. Ugh. Now I have to wash my hands because you smell. Why do you smell? Yeah, deserts suck. I took that chair after the swamp. Why? That is terrible. We love desserts, though. That is true. Yes. We do love desserts. What? What? I'm just gonna mess with you if you stand here. That's what happens. I forgot I had that music on. Just kidding. Gators. Oh gosh. Whatever song suits me. I don't really know if there are any, but I am here for you. You get to tell me what you want. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we played Red Dead. Go lay down. Leave me alone. Happy birthday by Marilyn Monroe or to Marilyn Monroe? What? I brought my neighbors Jaeger's meat. They brought me homemade cinnamon rolls. That's a good trade. That was nice. Castle got me muffins. just wreaking havoc in that game. No. I lean towards the good side unless it's on accident. I miss my neighbor that used to give me venison. That's an unfortunate neighbor to lose. Sound like a terror, Maddie. Yeah, Jaeger is that neighbor that gives elk and venison away. Can go live by Jaeger. I enjoy being a good guy in that game until someone kills me. Well, usually it's, you know, guys that you're supposed to go after anyway when they kill you. Oh, you mean like the random guys on the road that like get mad at you for nothing? And then they're like, oh, you got too close to me. I'm going to shoot you now. Yeah, those guys are annoying. Then the petty begins. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Quick save is made for a reason. Yeah. If only I wasn't on the other side of the world. That is true. That is true. Jeez, Maddie, you are terrible. Don't do that. I mean, it's a game. I guess you can do whatever you want, but there are reasons why I don't play. What are the other ones they do? What is it called? See, you can tell I don't play it because I don't remember the name. What are the other games they make? My brain doesn't want to work. Got an NPC mad because I interfered with their duel. That's funny. Grand Theft Auto, that one. Yeah. I should remember that, but yeah. I don't like it. I don't need all that debauchery. I was completely happy with living my frontier life. One day, hopefully, maybe I'll get over there. Yeah, that would be awesome. It'd be really cool. But yeah, not into Grand Theft Auto because I'm just not into all that. Like, Cyberpunk, I was okay with because it's single player, so I don't have to worry about a bunch of grifters. Like, you still do in Red Dead, but I like the Cyberpunk vibe. Like, I don't need all the extra excessive debauchery in there, but I like Cyberpunk because it reminds me of Blade Runner. And I love, yeah. Yeah, well, it's not a sword, it's a club. And yes, I use it because I can knock out the cyber psychos and not kill them with it, and it's the strongest one I have. Which again, I think they did on purpose. Yeah. Cyberpunk has a great foundation. Yeah, it's a cool environment. Like, I love the anime, I love the movies, and I liked the game too. Yeah. But yeah. It's, I do use the phallic club. Only when I have to. From Sydney and you're in Melbourne, I have a cousin-in-law from Melbourne. You ran over some people on the tracks? That's terrible. You remember that weapon? Yeah, I'm sure you thought it was hilarious. If it works, no shame. Yeah. Like, why did you guys? Yeah, well, I know why they did it. It is funny, but at the same time, I don't. It gets annoying too, because it vibrates and you can't turn off the vibration, so I can turn off the feeling of the controller, but you still have to hear it. It was a secret achievement in the original Red Dead to tie someone to the tracks. Yeah. Because when else are you going to be able to do that but in Red Dead? Yeah, Maddies, please refrain from using foul language. The mod got you. It's funny. It's funny that it got you, but not Jaeger. You censored yourself, that's good. I didn't even have to do my job. Yeah, I got it automatically. But it didn't get you, I guess because you're a mod. So Twitch got mad at me. Yeah, I saw. That's what you get for having a potty mouth. See, Storm knows. Storm knows he has to censor himself, or he will get mad at him. You're a good bard? Alright. Scolded by mom, intensify. That's right. I'm worse with Becca. Don't do that. Don't do it. But yeah, that's funny. Okay, pick a song. And then I gotta go finish a video. Pick a song. What do you want? If I want to get scolded, I'll just put pineapple on pizza. Yeah. I don't really care one way or the other, but I don't go for it. I don't do pineapple on pizza. No, you take mom's pastry. Yeah, that'll get me going. Or my coffee. Don't take my coffee away either. You get Castle to rant, we get you to stay longer. Yeah. Yeah. I spelled Legolas wrong once and it censored me. That's funny. Isn't it Legolas? Not Legolas? Is Legolas a bad word? I'm confused. Twitch just hated my joke about a phallic sword. That is right. It said, "No way, Jose." Well, either way, you're down one leg. Yeah. Yep. This is true. They added an extra... Oh, I see. Thank you, Storm. Yeah. Storm said it's probably because you added an extra S. My ex poured out a full bottle of Jack Daniels. Good. Jack Daniels isn't good. At least pick something better. Loch Lomond for song suggestion. Do I know that one? That's a major crime, Maddie. I don't know. It's fine as a mixer. Yeah, got it. Doesn't seem like Twitch really cared about that though. Legolas. I'm trying, okay? It's funny. Oops. Can see what songs I have on my list that I might be able to sing to you. Gotta open up my Spotify. A crime against what? Just in general. You're good maze as Uncle Jack? Bleh. It's not even that good. Let's see. Shanties. Gut and Bunny, Song of the Lonely Mountain, Misty Mountains. Maybe I could do Into the Open Air? I don't know. I don't remember if I can hit all those notes. I definitely can't hit all the Parting Glass notes, but I could give that a go. I have Ghost of a Rose, Shularum, into the west. I like Oran Noroin, but I haven't learned it yet because it's not in English. It's hard. I still have some homemade whiskey from a coworker to try. That's scary. Got some moonshine. All right. Good night, Gunnar. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. It's always good to have you around. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. There's also Edge of Night. There's the Willow Maid. The Last Goodbye. In London So Fair. I also don't know all the words to Dulaman because that's not in English either. Or Mahilamar. Red as the Rose is better when I sing it with Castle. One more pull. I've got a lot on here. Montana Moonshine, yeah. Pick a song so we can end up. My Jolly Sailor Bold, Savage Daughter, Scarborough Fair, Drunken Sailor, Roll Boys Row, Here's a Health to the Company, also better with Castle. This is why I might love you. Stop. When I hallucinate, I just turn into a storm cloud and make everything messy. Wow. Yeah, you should rephrase. Goodness. You guys are ridiculous. Jolly Sailor Bold. Okay, let me see if I remember that one. Oh yeah, this one's kind of repetitive in the intonation, but yeah, I could do that. This mom doesn't love all that matters. Because not everything matters, okay? My mom just doesn't technically... Wait, what? My mom doesn't love me? I think. Her love is for coffee and pastries. Wow. Wow. Shots fired. Alright, let's see. Yeah. My keyboard hates me more than trolls do. Alright, is that the only vote we got? It's My Jolly Sailor Bold. I don't know if I want to sing the whole thing, because it's like, I don't know. I like the song, but it's also unnecessarily long, because it's just kind of like the same sound over and over. So it gets boring. Sorry. Just roasting it. Storm gross. Yeah. Wow. You guys. Hobbit walking song. We can do some Frozen. I got Into the Unknown on here. Got the All Is Found lullaby. The Babanshi, I want Castle to learn so he can sing it with me. Song of the Sea. Or the Celtic version of Rana Farga. Excuse me. Where are you? Don't go in there. What are you doing? Got The Last Unicorn. All Is Found. How Far I'll Go. What's the How Far I'll Go? Is that the Hercules one? I can do All Is Found. I gotta get the lyrics though. Rush E. How far I'll go? Oh, the Moana. Yeah, that's right. I can look up I haven't watched that in quite a while, but I could try to remember that one. We're gonna do Disney night. That's what's happening. Ugh. But yeah, I'm gonna stand up. 'Cause yeah, go the distance. Thank you. They both had go in the title. Alright. I will do where the, all is found. Hail to the chair. You're a big Moana fan? Yeah, it was a pretty one. I liked that one too. Had some good songs as well. Where the north wind meets the sea, there's a river full of memory. Sleep, my darling, safe and sound, for in this river all is found. In her waters, deep and true, lay the answers and a path for you. Dive down deep into her sound, but not too far or you'll be drowned. Yes, she will sing to those who hear, and in her song all magic flows. But can you brave what you most fear? Can you face what the river knows? Where the north wind meets the sea, there's a mother full of memory. Come, my darling, homeward bound. When all is lost and all is found. You didn't like the plot of Moana? Which one? The second one or the first one? You have your biases. That's fair. You're allowed to have your biases. What was the other one? Oh, the Moana one. That's right. Oh, I don't know if I can remember that, but I can try it. What was it called? How far I'll go? I liked that song her ancestors sang. That one was a cool one. Alright, I'll have to see if I can remember this one. I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember, never really knowing why. I wish I could be the perfect daughter, but I come back to the water no matter how hard I try. Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. See the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. If I go, there's just no telling how far I'll go. I know everybody on this island seems so happy on this island. Everything is by design. I know everybody on this island has a role on this island, so maybe I can roll with mine. I can lead with pride, I can make us strong. I'll be satisfied if I play along, but the voice inside sings a different song. What is wrong with me? See the light as it shines on the sea, it's blinding, but no one knows how deep it goes. And it seems like it's calling out to me, so come find me and let me know what's beyond that line. Will I cross that line? And the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. Yeah, I don't think I can hit that last line. I'll end up like waking up the whole house. But okay. We made it. I think I'm tired. Moana was also the reason I've been trying to learn Maori and Hawaiian. Yeah? That's fun. I have not seen this sequel. Yeah, some sequels should not be made. Yeah, I agree. I agree. They're gonna do a Moana 3. I mean, whatever they can do to make money. They've been losing a lot in recent years, so they know that with the popularity of like Frozen and Moana, people will come back because they love it so much. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think we can end up, my friends. So, have a good night, everybody. Chokehold by Sleep Token. Next, please. Oh, gosh. Yeah. The funny thing is I've been, there's been some videos where they do voice isolation on those songs, and I actually like those. Like, the music is good, but I think it's hard to appreciate just how good his singing is. Fun fact, Matangi was planned for the first Moana. Good night, Milu. Hopefully I didn't destroy everyone's ears. But yeah. Gotta do some video editing. So, good night, good night. We will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. Well, thank you, Jaeger. Appreciate you. Glad you liked it. Druid singing with It's My Life. Oh my gosh, that would be weird. Could work. Still intact to request more another day. Okay, good. It was very pleasant. Okay, I'm glad. Good, good, good. You are welcome, Matt. Glad you liked it. Have a good night, you guys.